closer to Jesus before. So can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Oh, welcome into a Monday edition of Running Points on ysnlive.com. Ron Potesta with you alongside me, Anthony Hardwig. We have ourselves a 5-day-a-week show, although Anthony's bailing on me Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday because he has work to do.
I got some work to do, but it's going to be fun because Tuesdays and Thursdays I'm going to be work because now he hit the ground running. Every sport's in full swing. You know, if you haven't started the volleyball season, you're starting tonight. So there's going to be a lot of volleyball, soccer stories up tomorrow and Thursday, and then Friday, man, we got stuff on YSN from 12 to 12. So make sure you stay tuned into YSN on Fridays.
And we'll have about 5 high school football games to talk about because there will be 5 games that will be played on Thursday, including who do we got? We got Canfield taking on Howland. Excuse me. Cheney is going to be playing. Who is Cheney playing? Okay, Ursuline and Cheney. We got Niles and Jefferson, Dover and Louisville. We welcomed in Louisville to the family over the weekend. So all those folks in Louisville out in Stark County are going to be able to listen to their games, courtesy of YSN, your sports network. And finally, Sebring taking on McDonald. We will have 5 football games to talk about on Friday, as well as preview a ridiculous amount of high school football games, including Fitch and Boardman. And I'm so glad. And I think a lot of leagues are wondering, is this going to be a one and done? And if it is, just in case we get a ridiculous amount of COVID stuff, which I don't think we're going to. I think we're going to be in pretty decent shape, or at least, knock on wood, I hope we're in pretty decent shape. Fitch and Boardman said, you know what, if this is a one and done scenario, we got to play each other.
Right.
So they're going to play each other, and they're already going to do a senior night just in case as well. I like that decision by Boardman.
And also, most of the rivalries that are at least in conference, you know, there are a lot of rivalries that aren't in conference, and they probably won't play this year unless they play outside of the playoffs. A lot of those rivalry games in conference have turned to week 1. So we're going to see a lot of rivalry games on Friday night.
Yeah, and it should be an awful lot of fun. It really should. High school football, this is the high school football week. And whether we think it's going to work or not, you know what? Let's have that discussion for another time. Right now, we have high school football. Now, some people may think it's going to be short term. Other folks believe this is going to be the whole year. I will say this, and I'm going to be curious to hear your opinion on this. I made mention in the powwow that we had on TV21 on their Facebook side. With Dana, DJ, myself, and Gary Houstu, I made mention that we would not complete the season, and it would be sometime in the playoffs that they would shut it down, which, looking back on it, that might be the dumbest thing that I've said. And I've said a lot of stupid things because it seems to me if we get past, I want to say week 5,
we'll be fine.
We're going to be playing a season because
there's no if we get into the playoffs, there's no way that we're just say shutting that down.
Yeah,
there's just it would have to be like
it would have to be an unbelievably large disaster proportion of COVID in order for them to do that because it's all about the money, and there's going to be a ridiculous amount of money after week 6 because again, everyone is in the postseason. And
honestly, I think we can take a deep breath after we just get past week 1 and we get to that week 1 hurdle because that's the one that everyone's kind of worried about. Like, can you go play a week of football and then be fine the next week and have no positive test results?
Yeah, and it'll be really interesting to see what happens. MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline is open, 330-886-0813. So the Vindicator and the Tribune Chronicle came out with their previews. And by the way, kudos to both the Vindicator and the Tribune Chronicle to have such an outstanding job under the circumstances. I mean, we didn't even know there was going to be any football until Governor DeWine opened that door up last Tuesday. So for these guys to have all this stuff on hold, and then they said, oh, we're going to have this? Okay, now let's go to print. Just a fantastic job by everyone involved.
All the sports media, us, WFMJ, and the Vindicator, like you said, they've all been kind of gearing. They've had to plan for if we had a season, because otherwise they'd be caught with their pants down this week, and we wouldn't have any. So we've been all of us have been like one of those wind-up cars that when you hit the floor, they go.
Yeah.
We've just been gearing up, and then we got the green light last week, and now we're going. I mean, that's the only way to do it. You have to have plans for the season. Even if everyone's saying there won't be a season, you got to have the plans, and they did a great job.
Yeah, and the Vindicator today is starting to touch on the northern Columbiana County teams, southern Mahoning County teams. I noticed today Leetonia and Columbiana are in the Vindicator's preview in their sports section today. So kudos to them for that. I thought both of the publications were outstanding. They're very valuable, especially for the broadcasters. Thursday, I know that down here in Columbiana County, Salem News and the Morning Journal are going to have their football preview as well. At least the Journal is on Thursday, and I'm looking forward to reading their stuff as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's one of the cool things about high school football, and I have said this for a long period of time. The coverage that this area gets and gives to high school football is second to none. And I've lived in 8 different states, and every area that I have lived in, the high school football coverage between print, radio, TV, Youngstown and the Mahoning Valley blows everyone out of the water.
Thanks to us now, that's going to be not even close to. It's going to be not even close with what we're bringing out this year, and all the schools that we're covering with live video every Friday night. I mean, there's no one in the country that does what we do with as many schools as we do.
Yeah, it's an awful lot of fun to do this.
We've done the research. We can confidently say no one else in the country does what we do with the scale of we do with the amount of schools that we do, and it's not even close.
Yeah, it's going to be an awful lot of fun. So if you're a high school football fan, enjoy the ride, because it's going to be an awful lot of fun. Although I will be the first to tell you, it's going to be a very bizarre trip for the first couple of weeks, knowing that there will be 15% capacity in all stadiums. So if you have a 2,000-seat stadium, 300 people are going to be showing up max at your games. If you have a 5,000-seat stadium, 750 people max will be showing up in your stadium. So it's going to be weird in that direction.
The reality, Ron, is there aren't going to be a lot of people outside of parents that are going to be at these football games. I mean, if you think that there will, I mean, Austintown Fitch already came out and said you're not going to get tickets at the gate. It's all going to be pre-sale. So if you think you're going to go to a game on Friday night and just get a ticket at the gate, I'm sorry, this is not going to happen.
It is not going to happen. However, what YSN is going to help you all out. If you go to ysnlive.com on Friday nights and you find your high school football team by choosing schools, the drop-down box, you pick your team. As the game is going to start, then you are going to have to fill out some information. We are going to offer pay-per-view for those that want to see their high school football team. It's $9.99. As you can get as many people to watch this as humanly possible, it's still only going to be $9.99. So think about it this way. It's about $7 to see a football game for an adult. Now, I know my parents love to see their grandson quarterback. The both of them going to a game is $14. Now, this year, they can stay at home and watch this for $9.99, with 25% of the $9.99, approximately $2.50, going to the school that you have chosen. So in other words, if you go to ysnlive.com, click schools, drop down box, and you pick Crestview, and you fill out your form, and you take a credit card or a debit card out, and you put in the numbers, and you get the $9.99 charge on your credit or debit card. $2.50 will go to the Crestview Athletic Department. Also, make sure that when you are doing this, if you have a laptop and you're doing this, the only way to watch this particular game is on your laptop. If you have
just to clarify, whatever you buy it on. So it's not like
Yes.
you can only access it on a laptop. Whatever you buy it on, that's the device you have to watch it on. So if you buy it on your phone, if you have an Apple Smart TV or if you have a Chromebox, you can hook that up to your TV. But otherwise, there's no way to get it on your TV if you buy it on your laptop or your iPad or whatever you want to buy it on. Make sure you buy it on the device that you want to spend the night on, because otherwise you're going to be.
Yeah, I
for the
would.
game
I would.
twice.
Yeah, I would suggest to those that have an iPad. I have one of those. They're absolutely fantastic. I would suggest if you're going to spend the $9.99 on pay-per-view, and we certainly hope that you will, you probably want to do that on your iPad if you have one.
And here's the other thing for people that have been with us for a while. The $9.99 also gives you the download link for the game. You'll be emailed it next day, so you'll have that forever. You won't have to also buy it for $2.99 like you would in a normal situation where you watch the game and then go buy it for $2.99. The $9.99 gives you that, so the next day you will be emailed the download link and you'll have that game for as long as you want. You can download it and have it forever.
So if you want to watch 10 games, it's going to be $9.99 a game for 10 games. Now, regular season is 6 games. Everyone goes into the playoffs, assuming that you want to go into the playoffs. And we're going to talk a little bit about this because I did some research because, well, we love doing research around these parts. That's what our job is. We have 45 teams playing football this year in Trumbull, Mahoning, and Columbiana counties. Now, obviously, we do have some teams outside the 3-county area, Louisville being one of those teams. They're brand new in their first year with YSN. They're in Stark County. You can expect some other teams in Stark County to trickle on board beginning in 2021 because Louisville is going to be the first, and everyone's going to be looking at that going, where is this and how can we get this? And we expect a lot of Stark County teams to jump on board, as well as the Summit County teams. I'm talking to you, Akron Hoban. That would be nice if you can get a Hoban or at Ellet's or Akron Central Howard or some of those other Akron programs, and maybe get up into Geauga County, Kirtland.
Manchester's up there, right?
Manchester, absolutely. So there are 45 teams in Trumbull, Mahoning, and Columbiana counties. I've broken it down into divisions and all the teams that belong in a division and a region. There are 3 teams in the 3-county area that are Division 2. Boardman, Fitch, and Harding. They're all in D2 Region 5. Anthony, there's 26 teams in D2 Region 5. 3 of the 26 teams belong in the Mahoning Valley. And you look at these 3 teams, each of these 3 teams, they've got something to offer this year. Harding has a real nice team coming back. Fitch has a very impressive team by all accounts. So does Boardman. This should be a lot of fun to see these 3 teams
That's
play.
why I'm so excited for Boardman Fitch week 1. We're going to find out a lot about both the teams, and they're going to square up against each other. That might be, who knows, that might be a playoff match. We might see Boardman Fitch twice.
Pretty good chance of it.
So
Yeah, absolutely. There are 6 teams in Division 3, Region 9, 26 teams overall. 6 of them reside in the Mahoning Valley, and of course, the Mahoning Valley consists of Trumbull, Mahoning, and Columbiana counties. Canfield, Cheney, East, Hubbard, Howland, and Niles. Now, we can include Louisville. They are a Division 3 program, so Louisville is the 7th team of the 26 teams. And you look at the 6 teams that we just mentioned, Canfield is going to be an awful lot of fun to watch. Cheney is going to be an awful lot of fun to watch. East is going to be a rebuilding type of situation, but they could surprise some people. Hubbard,
Don't sleep on Hubbard. Don't
exactly.
do it. I think they're going to give Poland a lot of fits in the NE8, and I think Hubbard's going to have a pretty good season.
I think Howland and Niles are two other teams that I think are going to be a lot of fun to watch as well.
Hubbard was so close last year. I mean, they were so close to beating Poland, and it's going to be a fun season for the Eagles down there.
Yeah, and again, Howland, Niles, I think those two programs on their way up. Look, Niles did a real nice job last year.
Yeah.
And I think that Niles is poised to have another really nice year this year.
That whole conference last year was just loaded with good teams. And Niles had a good season. Struthers had a good season. South Range had a good season. Poland had a good season. Hubbard had a good season. Girard's always good. So that whole NE8 is going to be stacked with great teams.
Then you go to Division 4. All of these teams are D4 Region 13. 9 teams locally, 28 teams in the region. Beaver Local, East Liverpool, Girard, Lakeview, Poland, Salem, Struthers, Ursuline, and West Branch. And the two teams, obviously, that everyone has been raving about this year, Poland and Ursuline.
Yep. I mean, they're different too, because Poland is like going to grind you out. They're going to run with 3 running backs. Their offensive line is huge, but Ursuline's going to have a heck of a speed kind of caliber. They're going to spread you apart. They're going to use their speed and athleticism, and both the offenses are going to be prolific in different ways, and it's going to be fun to watch if those two teams meet up in the playoffs with such conflicting styles of offenses.
You know, the one team that I would suggest that people don't fall asleep on them is Girard. And I guess we're going to find out how good Girard is. They go into Cortland on Friday night to take on Lakeview. And their first 3 games of their first 4 games of their schedule, at Lakeview, South Range at home, at Poland, Hubbard at home. Yikes. Those are 4 really, really tough games for Girard, but look, I mean, 2 of them are at home, 2 of them are on the road. If they can go 3-1 after 4 games, we're looking at a really, really fun program in Girard.
Yeah, it's good for them. They have South Range and Hubbard both at home. Is that
Yes,
right? So
yes.
I mean, both those teams are coming to the Arrowhead Stadium, and at least that's going to be going for them. They'll have some home field advantage. They'll probably have more people in the crowd than the visiting team, because some schools are handling it differently than others. But a lot of schools are saying that we're going to have more people than the visitors. So it's going to be fun to see what home field advantage is going to be like this year too.
Last year, they knocked off Lakeview 38-28. They lost to South Range 36-22. They got beat by Poland convincingly 45-7, and they beat Hubbard 16-14.
That was a great game against Hubbard, just back and forth, and they really did their defense did a good job of keeping Hubbard in check. And remember, last year Girard lost a lot of pieces from their state championship run. They didn't win the state championship; they went to the runners-up, but in the year before, they lost a lot of good players from that run. So they were just trying to kind of find their footing again. I think they found it this year, and they'll be a little bit more competitive.
Let's go to the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, where we find Mr. Football. What's up, Mr. Football?
How are you today, Ronnie?
I'm good, sir. Yourself?
Well, it would have been better if Mean Mary would have won the race instead of coming in second yesterday in the featured race at Saratoga.
Well,
came in by a nostril.
Yeah, I mean, did that cost you a pick 6, or what did it cost you?
It cost, well, we had her first and second, and she come in second by a nostril, but we had the exacta right, and we wish we would have had the trifecta right, but our horse didn't get up for third. But it was a good race. She ran a good race, but she didn't have it at the end. The last 15 yards she gets speed in, but.
Well, hey, look,
at
at least you didn't lose a pick 6 and $8,000 by a neck.
Oh.
You know, I just that to me just I just threw my arms up and said, yeah, we're done with this, because that was the worst beat ever. I'm just glad I didn't spend a lot of money on it, but you had to look at what I was doing, Vince, because I was 5 for 5, and the 6th race, My horse is closing in on this, and if my horse wins, I get $8,000. And my horse, 50 yards left, decided to do a misstep, and then by the time the end of the race came, she was charging, but it was too late.
I've been on the other side too. When our horse comes from behind to win it, we hit a pick six. Three of us, we were all together. Some of the guys you met down at our local racino,
Yep.
we went together on a pick six, and we hit it for like 6,200, and that was the good times. A lot of times you're there, we're waiting for our horse to come up, and it never comes up. It stalls out. She didn't want, or he didn't want to run that day, and it comes in fourth instead of third, and or it comes in second instead of first, and you see your money like in the cartoons.
Your money disappears, gone in 60 seconds. Hey, next Saturday is the Kentucky Derby. Is there any horse that comes remotely close to beating Tiz the Law?
Maximum Security if it runs in that race, but it's a prohibitive 1-9 favorite. I mean, it's not hands down, it's the class of the 3-year-olds this year. And from every race that it's been in, it looks like it just, if it wants to run faster, they'll let him run. But I don't think he hit him one time in his last top of the stretch, maybe a little. He got because his head was going sideways a little bit, but he gave him a little tap to get his attention, and he left them other horses by 10 yards or so.
Yeah, seems to me the only way Tiz the Law doesn't win the Kentucky Derby is if Tiz the Law has the unfortunate luck or lack thereof of picking on the extreme outside.
Ronnie, maybe you can help me out on this one. I heard either way. Was it true that all the athletic directors in the Big Ten voted to play, and then the commissioner decided against it, not to play?
Well, the ADs had nothing to do with this vote. This was all the presidents and the chancellors of the university. The ADs, all of them said, "Hey, let's play. Let's do this. This is crazy. Why aren't we playing?" But they're not the ones that are dealing with the libel, with the lawsuits that could potentially come about. Now, as we find out, you really can't sue per se unless you have some overwhelming evidence. So, but the presidents, they decided to disagree with the athletic directors to a man. I mean, 2 of them decided that they did want to play, Nebraska and Iowa, but the other 12 put a thumbs down. And that's when the Big Ten president, on the advice of 12 of the 14 college presidents and chancellors, they said, "Yeah, we're not playing football this year."
It's a shame. Now, Ronnie, you would know better than I. The present quarterback at Ohio State, will he be able to transfer it back to an SEC team, or to get in his junior/sophomore year, or will he bite the bullet and stay at Ohio State and come back out next year as a redshirt junior?
Well, I don't think he comes out next year. I think he goes to the NFL draft. Honestly, I think that he's entrenched at Ohio State. I don't think he goes anywhere. I think that he's just going to work out, and he'll do his stuff away from the football field. He'll work out on his own with some kids, and come next spring, he'll be eligible for the draft, and I expect him to be a first-round draft pick.
Will he be a redshirt junior then, or no?
He would be a redshirt sophomore. His class would be 3 years in, but because he redshirted 1 year, he would be considered a redshirt sophomore, though his class would be juniors. So he fits the criteria of going into the NFL draft. You must be in college at least 3 years in order to be eligible to go into the NFL draft. He has been in college for 3 years. He has only played for 2.
He's only played for 2. Okay, I figured you would know more than I would on that point. But it seems to me that the Buckeyes are, they're not going to play this year, and from what I understood, if they did play, they were only going to seat 30,000 in a 100,000 seat stadium. My question to you and your vast listening audience: who gets the tickets?
That's a good question, and honestly, I have no idea. I think that I'm not even sure how many season ticket holders they have. So I would assume that they would break down the season ticket holders. If there's 60,000 and there's, let's say, 6 home games, 10,000 per home game, you'd only go to one game, and there it is. And the other, or let's say 20,000. So you'd go to 2 games, and the other 40 or 10,000 tickets would go to the public. Honestly, I don't know, and now it's a moot point since Ohio State's not playing this fall.
I know my girlfriend's son works for a company in Columbus, a investment firm, and they have like 40, I would say 45, maybe 50, and they rotate the 10 tickets they have for every home game. They belong to the Blocko, fund. They're the big-time boosters, and they rotate the tickets among the employees, but they have to do some work. They have to go down for the tailgate. They have to take down the tent and do all this other stuff, for them to get the tickets. And those tickets aren't cheap. They're $135 a piece.
Yeah, no, and it's a damn shame. And Vince, we haven't even talked about the economic hit that this is going to take for the city of Columbus. You figure all of the bars, all of the restaurants, all of the hotels, hundreds of millions of dollars are going to be lost this football season in the city of Columbus, just like it'll be lost in Ann Arbor, State College, Madison, and all the other Big Ten cities. This is going to be a financial hit, just an absolute financial hit to all the Big Ten cities this year.
I heard that every time the Buckeyes play at home, it's a $40 million. That's $40 million payday for the city of Columbus for all the things that you mentioned. The bars, the hotels, the thing that goes along with Ohio State home games down there. It's just that the revenue that it brings in. And once again, teams like Ohio State, they could weather the storm. But dear old YSU, they looked forward to the payday. Their big payday this year was Akron, and that got nixed. I mean, the $300,000 they were going to get for playing Akron, that goes a long way in the support programs for the other non-revenue sports at YSU.
Yep.
And that really hurt YSU and teams of that ilk that they don't, we know, and I know some more, your more in tune callers know that YSU takes a hit with traveling out to play the teams in our conference. They're out in the hinterlands of the middle of the United States out here, and the expense of travel just kills YSU every year.
No, there's a price to pay for being in the best conference in FCS, and they love being in the Missouri Valley Football Conference, and when you have your money game now this year, as you mentioned, the money game was Akron and was a small 6-figure account, which pales in comparison when you take on a West Virginia or a Pitt, but still, you're not going to sneeze at $300,000, and it's unfortunate. You're not going to have that money this year. Even when they play their spring schedule, it's going to be conference only. So, yeah,
right.
Youngstown State is going to take a tremendous hit financially. Now, and the million-dollar question is, are the Penguins and the athletic department going to be able to survive, assuming that we do have football in the spring? It's not just FCS. D2 and D3 are also in the same boat. All D3, all D2, and all FCS programs are going to be playing in the spring. If you're a football fan and a football fan of a team that is not a, quote, big boy football program, you better hope and pray to the football gods, small g, that you have football in the spring, because if there is no football in the spring, you could see some programs have some severe cuts, and that would be just a damn shame.
It's this virus that affected the whole country, affected the collegiate sports in the revenues that you just mentioned to teams such as the size of YSU that look forward to a big payday. I think Kent had 3 big paydays this year. They played, of course, their alumnus at Alabama. I mean, Mr. Saban's a proud alumnus of the Kent State University. They played Alabama, Penn State, and was it Missouri or Maryland?
Yeah, they have 3
They had
Power
3.
5 conference teams that they were going to be playing, and they were going to be cashing about a $5 or $6 million, which would have been great for Kent State. And again, unfortunately, that goes out the window. And you feel for the mid majors, you feel for all of the programs not named. The Big 12, the ACC, the SEC, Conference USA, and the American Athletic Conference. All the other conferences have decided not to play or playing in the spring, and you feel for all of those conferences.
Yeah, it's just something that obviously no one saw coming down the pike, and this Corona really hurt intercollegiate athletics.
Yeah.
And
not to
majors like
not to mention the fact that it severely undercuts all of the gambling that people can do on a Saturday when you're doing college football, because now your choices are extremely limited.
Oh yes. I think there's only the SEC, the ACC, and
the Big 12,
Big
Conference
12.
USA, and the American Athletic Conference are the 5 conferences that'll be playing this fall.
And they're cutting back on their schedule, from what I heard. They're only going to play conference games.
Yeah,
I think?
just conference games this year.
Did the other conferences, like the Mountain West, did they come out and say they're canceling?
Yeah, Mountain West already said they're out.
I didn't hear
so
about that.
yeah, they're the only 5 conferences that we're aware of that are going to be playing this year are the Big 12, the ACC, the Southeastern Conference, the American Athletic Conference, and Conference USA. That's it. The other D1, FCS, D2, D3 conferences, they're all shut down until springtime.
Ohio better market the crap out of Cincinnati.
There you go. Cincinnati Bearcats football. They are Ohio's
team.
There you go, Ronnie. Hey, nice talking to you, Ronnie. I'll see you down at Racino.
All right, Vince. There you go. And on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline, which is now open, 330-886-0813. By the way, the AP poll came out with their top 25. A little salt into the wounds for the Buckeyes. They're number 2 in the AP poll. How they're number 2 is beyond me. They're not even a football program right now.
They shouldn't even be in the poll because they're not playing.
Yeah, they're not playing. Why would the Associated Press do this?
What's the point of putting them in the poll at all?
Yeah, I don't get that one at all. That's that doesn't fly with me. I mean, you got Penn State at number 7. I mean, again, they're not playing this year. Why are they in the poll?
And then I bet Oregon is probably in that poll.
Yeah, I gotta get the complete top 25 because it's not listed, which is really weird. All right, here, okay, let's see what we got here. Nope, it's not listed. I'm gonna have to find it to where it's listed 1 to 25, but. Clemson is number 1 for those that are wondering, and you have Ohio State number 2, Alabama number 3.
I wonder how far they think LSU is going to drop then. I mean, I know they lost their golden boy quarterback and a lot of other pieces to that team, but you can't sleep on them. I don't think. I think they're still going to be a power.
Well, and I mean they are going to be a lot of fun to watch. I mean, I don't think there's any question about that, but I'll be really curious to see where they have LSU. Notre Dame, by the way, is number 10 in the AP poll. So that's about where I think they should be.
Very easy schedule.
Yeah, that's
very accommodating. Schedule.
Yeah, you could say that. That's an accommodating schedule for the for Notre Dame, the newest member of the. The newest member of the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Rudy was offsides.
Yeah. No, he wasn't. He wasn't offside. Stop that. It's okay. I mean, it's your team
That's
got
all
their
I can say. 'Cause
your team got their butts kicked
They did,
by Notre Dame.
but he was offside.
Okay. Well, I mean, he has that quick first step. I mean, that's what they said about Rudy coming out of high school. Watch that first step. It's pretty quick.
It's offside.
Yeah. Okay. 330-886-0813, the number to call. Now let's run down the rest of the teams. And it seems to me our sweet spot in this area being that half of our teams are D6 and D7. But we got to get to D5 first. There are 5 teams in our 3-county area, Trumbull, Mahoning, and Columbiana counties, from D5. 27 teams in the region. 5 of them belong to Mahoning Valley teams: Cardinal Mooney, Champion, Crestview, Liberty, and South Range. Obviously, Mooney, because of their schedule, because of the caliber of competition that they play, they're probably number 1 in the of the 5. Crestview, South Range, those 2 programs are.
If South Range goes 4-2, they're number 2 because of this the schedule they play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every team in their conference is up a division, so they'll probably get if they can go 4-2, they'll probably get number 2 in that region.
I take a look at Crestview, and they went 5-1 in their league last year. Now, keep in mind, everyone is returning to the Rebels program because they did not have one senior on their football team, which is the first time I have ever seen that following football for well over 40 years. First time I've ever seen this.
JFK, too, they're returning everyone, aren't they? JFK?
No, JFK had a couple of seniors, that were gone.
They're returning a lot.
They're returning an awful lot, absolutely. But Crestview went 5-1 against the AAC Blue, which is now the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference gray tier, because you got the scarlet tier and the gray tier, which
all these colors,
disgusting because they're trying to. They're trying to emulate the Buckeyes, which I find disgusting, but neither here nor there. Crestview went 5-1, and the only team they lost to in their league was Brookfield.
And I was about to say Brookfield's going to be tough.
They don't play Brookfield this year on their schedule. So you would assume, and I don't like using that word, but with everyone coming back, let's just say that Crestview should be favored in the 5 league games that they have. Their one non-league game is East Liverpool. Don't know what East Liverpool is going to look like this year, but there is a chance Crestview could go 6-0, 5-1, 6-0. Now, obviously, they're not playing a schedule anywhere resembling Cardinal Mooney, nor are they playing a schedule anywhere resembling South Ranges. But if you can go 5-1, 6-0, you're going to have a pretty high seat at the table.
Yeah, you'll have an argument for number 2, actually, if we're talking about those 5 teams in our area. I mean, you go 6-0, South Range goes 4-2, but their 2 losses are kind of humiliating or lopsided, and you beat everyone by a lot on their schedule, then you might have an argument for number 2. I mean, you just have to outweigh that tough schedule.
I'm going to be real curious because I think Mooney, Crestview, South Range, Liberty, and Champion are going to be fun to watch. I don't know if they're...
That might be the hardest game on Crestview's schedule in week 1 because Champion's got a pretty good team. Dana has them going 4-2.
Yeah.
So, Champion and Crestview week 1. I think we're going to learn a lot about both those teams.
Absolutely, and I think this is going to be an awful lot of fun. Like I said, Champion and Liberty they could be fun this year.
Liberty goes to Brookfield.
Yeah, and we'll find out how good Liberty is this year when they go to Brookfield to take on the Warriors. So. Look, I mean, this region, it's Kirtland and everyone else.
Yep.
And Mooney can have an unbelievable team. You're still going to have to go up against those beasts in Geauga County.
The Hornets.
And the Hornets are as good a football team, as good a program in D5 as I've ever seen.
They're ridiculously good.
And I mean...
Hey, maybe they can come down to YSN someday.
If we spread out to Geauga County, I'm sure a lot of Hornets fans would absolutely love to see that. There are 10 teams in Division 6 Region 21, 27 teams in the region. 10 of them belong to the 3-county area of the Mahoning Valley, Trumbull, Mahoning, and Columbiana counties. Brookfield, Columbiana, East Palestine, LeBray, Camel, Mineral Ridge, Newton Falls, Springfield, United, and Western Reserve. At the top of this list, the team that went to the D6 state championship game, and they have a lot of folks back. Springfield, they got some unfinished business, and I'm going to be curious to see how well Coach Guerrero's team starts playing football now that they are the hunted instead of the hunter.
The only team that's going to beat Springfield is Springfield. If they're mentally sharp and they prepare for every team, they'll be fine. It's just, I don't think there's anyone on their schedule that can beat them mano a mano. It's going to have to be Springfield making mental mistakes and not being prepared if a team's going to beat Springfield.
I'll be curious to see where they're ranked in when we get to assuming that we get that far, when we get to the end of the season and the coaches start figuring out, okay, which teams should be ranked number one, and so on, all the way down.
Coaches might give a lot of respect to the team that went to the state championship game last year, so
yeah,
they might get rated high if they go 6-0, and then how can you argue with that?
Absolutely, but I don't like the whole I'm living off of last year. But if you follow up this year with an impressive record, then you're not living off of last year. You've got last year, but you get a damn good record this year as well.
If you can say the last 2 seasons, the only game we've lost is the state championship game, how are you gonna not see that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's not too shabby.
We talk about week 1 matchups. Their week 1 matchup is tough. Middle Ridge is very athletic. They're gonna push Springfield. And if Springfield rests on that state championship game last year and doesn't have the mental sharpness to go play Middle Ridge is, though, I think maybe 1 or 2 teams, maybe McDonald as well on that schedule, that can really give Springfield a fight if they don't show up and play.
Yeah, and I'll be curious because, you get 15 to 18-year-olds and you don't get into the mind of 15 to 18-year-olds because that's a weird place.
It's hard for these kids not to they have to understand that state championship is gone.
Yeah.
Like they're not giving anything this year. They're 0-0, and they have to put in the exact same amount of work that they did last year to get there. It's not going to be handed to them just because they went there last year.
And that's where it's hard to explain to a 15 to 18-year-old kid, hey, what you did last year, wonderful, but none of that matters.
Nope.
You got to start over again.
Starting Friday, it means nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, if you're going to rest on those laurels, then you're going to get your ass kicked at least twice.
Middle Ridge will beat you.
Yeah.
If you don't show up.
Agreed.
And it's at Middle Ridge, so there you go.
And everyone is going to want to give Springfield their best shot because now they're the team. They're the team that went the furthest in the area. So now everybody's got Springfield in their crosshairs, ready to give their best effort against the team. Because let's face it, if you want to measure up against the best, well, Springfield is that team, at least according to last year. So everyone's going to want to give Springfield that A-plus effort week in, week out.
In Dana's high school football predictions, Springfield is the only team that he thinks is going to go 6-0.
I'll be curious to see what happens with that.
I think he had Poland at 5-1, but everyone else was either 4-2, 3-3, or there were only 2 teams that he had that were dominant on their schedule, 5-1, 6-0. So it'll be interesting.
Division 7, Region 25, 28 teams in the region. 12 of them are from the Mahoning Valley. Chalker, Jackson Milton, Warren JFK, Leetonia, Lisbon, Lowellville, Matthews, McDonald, Sebring, Southern, Valley Christian, and Wellsville. Warren JFK seems to be the team that everyone has been talking about, and why not? JFK has a very nice program. They have a very tough schedule for a D7 program, and I think that they're going to be prepared come postseason. But there's more than a handful of teams in this group of 12 that I'm going to be curious to see how good they are. And I'll start with my alma mater. I'll tell you right now, Leetonia has a really, really good chance of having a winning record this year.
And, they don't have Columbiana on that schedule. That's another tough game that they don't have to play.
Columbiana lost an awful lot of kids, and honestly, I think Leetonia could beat them this year, but we'll find out.
It would have been a tough game. They could have beat them, but Columbiana is always tough. They're
Absolutely,
always tough. Coach Spate really does a good job down there. So They're always tough, and that would have been a tough game. It would have been a physical game. It would have been a game to even if they won, they would have had a tough time bouncing back off of it because Columbiana is so physical. They're going to hit you hard. So that not being on their schedule only helps the tournament.
The bar is going to be set pretty high for the Bears. They open up against Southern down in Beartown. So Southern is depleted from a lot of their big-name kids, but Rich Wright is one of the better coaches in the area, and I'm sure that he's going to have his team ready and more than willing to get going. And I think Southern is another team that's going to be an awful lot of fun to watch. Lowellville is sneaky good. McDonald, year in, year out, they're fantastic.
McDonald's great.
Yeah.
In Lowellville, they're playing their home games at Struthers, so it'll be interesting to see how they handle that. They're not going to be playing on their home turf, but they're still going to have home games, and so it'll be interesting to see how they do that. Jackson Milton on Saturday.
See, here's the thing with Lowellville. They're going to be without the Rocket Cafe, the Hard Rocket Cafe, without the Cavatelli, without the wedding soup, without all that. That's their mojo.
The mojo's gone.
I mean, the mojo's gone. I mean, I understand why you're leaving Lowellville to go to Struthers because there's more of a there's a lot more room in Struthers. That means that more fans can come to the game. I get the reason. It's a great reason why you do it. But you've left the Cavatellis and the wedding soup and all that other stuff at home. That's their mojo.
Maybe they'll bring it with them. Maybe they'll have like a tent set up that'll be the traveling.
Rocket Cafe.
Rocket Cafe.
I don't know. That's a good idea. It's not a bad idea. And look, I mean, but concession stands are pretty much shut down this year.
Are they?
So,
are all of them?
yeah. So, I mean, that's another thing that part of the intricacies of what makes the Mahoning Valley so much fun to watch a football game. That goes into the intangible section of why the Mahoning Valley has such a great product, not just on the field, but some of the stuff that goes along with high school football.
We also talked about those concession stands give money to a lot of other school activities that use those concession stands as fundraisers and other athletic programs too. So it'll be interesting to see how schools handle that and how I think there's going to be a lot of other fundraisers that these kids are going to have to set up because they're not going to be having the concession stand revenue.
So there's a list of the 45 teams that are going to be playing football this year. Once again, we have 3 teams in D3, 3 teams in D2, 6 teams in D3, 9 teams in D4, 5 teams in D5, 10 teams in D6, and 12 teams in Division 7.
At the end of the show, we're going to have a pop quiz to see how many listeners can remember all that. Winner gets a free nothing because
winner gets nothing.
Free respect from me and Ron.
Yeah, there you go. That's where it is.
When we talk about high school football, we talk about all these great players that are in the area, but how about the coaches? I mean, we mentioned it with the Southern coach and so many great coaches in our area that have been there for a while, and some of them that are coming into new programs. But either way, we're blessed with amazing coaches in high school football.
No, we certainly are. And we will have some first-year coaches as well. We'll get into that tomorrow. Hopefully, we can have some of these guys on tomorrow. But a lot of the familiar faces are back next year. We'll run down the complete list of coaches and what year they're in later in the week. We will do that because there are some teams in Columbiana County that we still have to figure. Which coaches are in their first year, but I know Matt Oldmore's in his first year down in Lisbon, putting some spice into that Spaghetti Bowl rivalry. A former Leetonia alum will be coaching at Lisbon, which it just doesn't sit well with me.
A lot of people
just doesn't.
A lot of people look at jobs like Lisbon, who struggled last year, as man, that's going to be a tough place to go coach, but. You look at a guy like Matt Aldomore; he's got nothing to lose.
No, absolutely not.
And he can pretty much he doesn't have the pressure that like a Springfield has, where he has to worry about. He can just go in and just kind of tell his guys, let's just go in and shock people. And really be a little. I think Loosman's going to be a loose because he's a real loose coach and he likes to have fun. I think that's what we're going to see from Loosman this year. They're going to be real loose, not tight, not worried about wins and losses, more worried about just going out there and taking advantage of the fact that we have football.
And the other thing, Matt's been a winner. He was a winner at Leetonia. He had his team go to the playoffs a few times. He did a great job as an assistant coach at Canfield with Coach Pavlansky. Did a fantastic job as an assistant with Ron Johnson down in Salem.
Not the surf shop.
No, not the surf shop. and he's now back as a head football coach. And I think he'll do well in Lisbon. It might take a little bit for him to revamp the program, but I think that he long term is going to be an awful lot of fun to see him turn this Lisbon program around, much like Paul Julia turning the Leetonia program around.
Did he turn around like crazy too? It was
Yeah.
a total U-turn.
Yeah, went from winless 3 years ago. Last year they won 6 games, and this year, like I said, there's a pretty good chance they can go at least 4-2 in their 6-game season, and who knows where they would be rated. But with the coaches come postseason, assuming we get that far. But if you're 4-2, you got to believe you're at least a top 10, top 12 team. And being that D7 only has 28 teams.
Remember, I think the top 4 get a bye.
Well, I don't know how this works. I mean, it would depend on.
I think when we were talking about when the format first got released, I feel like the top seeds were going to buy. That way, you don't have like one versus one.
They're going to have to. They're really going to have to figure this out because 28 teams. Okay, assuming all of them are in, and who knows, maybe 4 of them drop out. So if there's 24, then you can do 4 buys. Or actually, you can do 8 buys and then have 9 versus 24, 10 versus 23.
The regions aren't built the way that the districts are in other sports because the districts are just a little bit more spread out. So
yeah.
You'd have 13, 14 teams in a district for basketball, volleyball, soccer, everything else.
Yeah.
So now there's 24 teams in a region. It's not. They didn't build it for everyone to get into the playoffs, so there's going to be some logistical.
Yeah, it's going to be weird to see how they do this, but again, assuming that all of them are welcome and all of them go to the postseason.
It's just if they take the opportunity.
If all of them go to postseason, how do you go with buys and whatnot? It's just, I think it's going to be very strange to see what happens there. And we do have some news from up in Cleveland. By the way, Munch Bishop will join the show at 2:00. We'll definitely talk about this. Good news for the Browns, and then there's bad news for Browns fans. The good news for the Browns, their linebacking core, not so good, inexperienced. They pick up former Super Bowl MVP Malcolm Smith on Sunday.
Wow.
Smith was with the Seattle Seahawks in their championship run 7 years ago. He won the MVP in the Super Bowl. Had a fantastic Super Bowl when they blew out the Denver Broncos. Malcolm Smith he might be long in the tooth, but 104 regular season games, Seattle, Oakland, San Francisco, Jacksonville, and the Dallas Cowboys. 295 career tackles, 6 sacks, 4 interceptions, plethora of other stuff. Malcolm Smith joins the Browns. If for no other reason, it's an experience factor for the Browns.
And brings in the winning culture. He knows how to win, period.
Yeah.
So he's gonna hold everyone to the winning standard.
And I think that's going to be a good move defensively. Is he a great player? No. But he's an experienced player, and he's a great guy in the clubhouse, which is something that the Browns most definitely need, especially on the defensive side of the field.
He might be able to keep Myles Garrett in check too.
Well, if you can have a veteran just tell the kid, hey, look, don't be stupid.
Cool it, young blood.
You just continue playing hard, but don't be stupid.
Right.
Bad news for the Browns.
Don't be stupid.
In a season in which we may or may not have fans, the city of Cleveland today, before we went on the air, about 10, 20 minutes before we went on the air, the news broke. The city of Cleveland has told the Browns and its fans, you're not allowed to tailgate. I have no words for this. I mean, I understand the reason why.
Here's what you do, guys. You go to your local park or whatever. You tailgate with your buddies for a couple hours, and then you drive to the stadium. You just don't drink in your tailgate. You have your cookouts.
Yeah, but that's not tailgating.
You have your cookouts, or you find somewhere that's within walking distance of the stadium. You have your tailgate there that's not the Brown Stadium, and you do it
No, they're saying no tailgating anywhere.
anywhere.
Yeah,
in the
so
whole city of Cleveland.
Well, yeah. So they're saying you're not going to be
Who's
doing
gonna
any
police this?
tailgating.
Are police officers going to be roaming the whole city of Cleveland looking for tailgaters?
Listen, all I know is the
Come
tailgatings
on.
that are going to be blocks from the
gonna
stadium,
be-
they're going to get shut down.
It's going to be black market tailgating. Is what it's going to be.
Hey, man, you want to come over here? I got the tailgating, all the tailgating you need, man. Here, give me the $20. Got your tailgating pass right here, man. Yeah, you see Nicholson going, hey, how you doing?
How you doing,
Got
man?
some tailgating passes for you right here, brother. Right here. Get your pass right here. Go over to the tailgate. Eat your food, drink your drink, and go to the freaking game. How do you like those freaking apples? You can't handle the truth. So no tailgating in Cleveland. Now, I will guarantee you if someone has the balls to sit back and tell Bill's Mafia, you're not allowed to tailgate, I will guarantee you someone will be going through a table. Just saying.
And then there's teams like Las Vegas. They're not even letting people in the stadium.
Yeah,
so.
I got mixed emotions on this. Look, I understand we live in a COVID world. You don't want anyone getting the illness, getting the virus. I get it. But come on.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to at some point in time we have to be able to get on with our lives. And if we're going to have football, tailgating and football go together like peanut butter and jelly.
I would understand more if it was more of the Browns coming out and saying on our property you're not going to tailgate.
Yeah.
But coming from the city of Cleveland saying you can't tailgate anywhere, that's a head scratcher to me.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing it on the Browns property, then the Browns are kind of responsible for what happens on
Sure.
the property.
Yeah,
So
the Browns
they-
have apparently the Browns have nothing to do with this. The city of Cleveland flat out just threw down the gauntlet and said, "Oh, by the way, you're not tailgating this year." Okay, maybe someone will go to Lakewood and do tailgating.
As the weeks go on, it might be a moot point because we might see all the NFL teams just say no fans. I mean, some of them are holding strong and saying we want 22% or 22%, whatever.
Yeah,
But the Raiders have decided that they're not going to let fans in the stands. They might just go on and say, okay, we're already going to be pushing our luck by not doing a bubble. We might be better off to just not.
yeah,
let
but you
fans
know
in the
as well
stands.
as I do, Anthony. Even if
Especially
there are no
since-
even if there are no fans in the stands, people love to tailgate.
Right.
So
What are you tailgating for, though? You're not going in the stadium.
to have some fun, feed your belly,
You can
filled with food
If you're not going
drinks.
to the stadium, you can definitely do what I said and just tailgate at home.
Well, yeah, I suppose you can do that. Yeah.
Tailgate at your local park.
Hey, there's tailgating in Pittsburgh? Well, no, but the Pirates took a weekend series from Milwaukee. Break out the Bucks. They win 3 in a row.
Raise the Jolly Roger.
Yeah, we're raising the Jolly Roger with the pregame host and the pregame host of the West Virginia Mountaineers, a
I
Big
think he also
12 team
does-
that happens to be playing college football this
He
year.
also does some play-by-play for West Virginia, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he does.
too,
Dan
so-
Zangrilli will be joining us in just a bit. It is a Monday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com.
21 News.
Let's get right to our top story tonight.
More experienced reporters
A new Wilmington restaurant.
GM Lordstown.
telling more local stories
We'll look at
Baby
efforts
boy
to
is
curb
recovering from a broken.
around our
Good
valley
afternoon. We are here in Youngstown, right up.
because you expect
It's important for everyone. No place like home.
more local news.
Mercer County Court.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
Welcome back to a Monday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Our next guest, you probably hear him a lot during Pirates baseball, the pregame show, and he is a world-renowned famous host of Pirates Rain Delay Theater. He is Dan Zangrilli, and he joins us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Dano, what's going on, my brother?
Hey, Ron. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. So you had a little rain delay theater yesterday. How many episodes have you had to this point? Because that's one of the cool things about the Pirates Radio Network. They allow the rain delay theater to go on. So this is a cool part of the broadcast.
Gosh, there's been a lot of hours spent sitting, waiting, talking about sitting, waiting, and when we may or may not play. The best, though, is, Ron, for all your years in baseball, is the rain delays where it doesn't rain. And we had 90 minutes of those yesterday. But, no, in all seriousness, I have a great broadcast partner in Jack Zarenzik, who's a Newcastle native, right? So right down the road. The former general manager of the Seattle Mariners. He was the scouting director that put together some of those great Brewers teams that came to be 10 years ago or so. And he's just full of knowledge and great stories. And, a lot of times we're rushed or we have other items to tend to in our pregame show. And what it does is it really just opens things up and allows us to have some really good, unique baseball conversation. And I really actually enjoy it because it's a big blank canvas, and you don't know how long you're going to be in most cases, and hopefully fans enjoy it as well. I mean, there's not much really that's scintillating about a rain delay, but hopefully we do a good job while we wait for the game to resume or start.
Well, some people would say the rain delay portion is better than the baseball team, which look, I mean, in fairness. Break out the Pirates. They sweep the Brewers over the weekend. They're now 7-17. Look, they buried themselves, but the cool thing about this setup that Major League Baseball has with the 8-team format, top two teams in each division go to the postseason. So, yeah, the Pirates are 5.5 games in back of St. Louis, but if they can play the way they played this past weekend against Milwaukee, they may be able to get back into this.
Well, I think it would take a lot, but I guess the good thing is for that to happen, if there is a chance for that to happen, that it's going to be largely intra-division play, so you can make up ground quickly, conceivably, and they do have a fair amount of games left against St. Louis, or even Chicago for that matter. But, I don't know if there's any real postseason aspirations for the Pirates, not only inside the clubhouse, but perhaps up in their front office. I think it's a year of evaluating, trying to keep guys healthy, number one, but then evaluating, and then, thirdly, you develop, and fourthly, if you happen to win the game, I guess that's the cherry on the top, which they were able to do 3 straight games against the Milwaukee Brewers, as you mentioned, Ron. But, it's been a tough start. They've had a lot of attrition, particularly in the bullpen. As we sit here today, 4/5 of their starting rotation is unavailable. That's from Jamison Tyone to Chris Archer to a young guy that's really impressive in Mitch Keller to Joe Musgrove. So any team that loses 4 out of 5, you're really going to be hurting, and that's going to be hard for anybody to overcome.
And after that really tough start, it's just got to be, even as the broadcasters, because it gets kind of modulant to just keep talking about losses. It's got to be a good lift off of your shoulders to talk about 3 wins in a row, not just the players, but the people that work for the Pirates as well.
Well, yeah, and I think one of the things that you're looking for each day, especially if you're from where I sit, but also where fans sit, I don't think that there is any real expectation for them to compete or win. Maybe a little bit because of the expanded format, but I think largely everybody with a brand new regime, from the president to the general manager to the manager and many members of the coaching staff, is that they wanted to see what's in store for 2021, 22, and look ahead. And the hard part about that is injuries have really hit, and that has really thwarted some of the development for a young guy like a Nick Birdie, or maybe even a Keone Kela, who dealt with COVID and now has some forearm tightness. Can you display him and his value to potentially flip him at the trade deadline and maybe get an integral piece? Those sort of storylines. Josh Bell, is he the Josh Bell that sort of fell off a cliff after June 1st, after his historic May of last year, or is he more of that guy that May 2019 brought to play? Those are the storylines that you're looking for. Gregory Polanco, can he have a breakout year? That hasn't been able to materialize. So those are the storylines that you're looking for. And what finally occurred against Milwaukee is some of those guys actually getting their foot down, getting their timing right, and swinging the bats in a particularly impressive fashion. Polanco included in that conversation with 2 home runs, including the game winner in the 8th inning yesterday. A guy like Brian Reynolds, who had just a strong rookie campaign. And even guys like Cole Tucker and Kevin Newman and Jacob Stallings, how about that name, all had really productive series. So those are, I guess, the things that at day's end you can hang your hat on when you talk about the Pirates and watch them this year.
Dan, we're a week out from the trade deadline, and obviously the Pirates would love to keep as many of the young kids, especially a Josh Bell, and try their luck in 2021. But do you get the sense that maybe if a deal is right, a Josh Bell could be had from the Pirates?
I think so. But what is his value, Ron? I think that's the big question here. And I'm not sure that he's used these first 20 games to truly answer what is still a pretty big question around a guy who is in year 4 of his 6 years of control. To answer your question, I think yes. Anybody is fair game on this team. There are no untouchables. And Ben Cherington has essentially said as much. But where does Josh Bell fit? What are his potential suitors? And really, what's the true value of Josh Bell at this very moment? I would like to think that it's probably fairly low. And you don't want to, as you know, deal a guy on the lower end of his apex. If you want to pick up the phone and talk to, at the time, Neil Huntington, or in this case Ben Cherington, the May 2019 version of Josh Bell, you would like to think that the yield would be far greater than what it would be right now. But you've got a big bat, switch hitter, controllable for the next couple of seasons. So yeah, there's a lot of things to like about Josh Bell, but who is he? What is he? I don't think that that's necessarily been determined as to what his true value is. It's a guy that hit 37 home runs last year, yes, but somebody that has shown to be extraordinarily streaky, and I think that consistency element is maybe a bit of a deterrent from getting that big haul back that you would need to get if you were to indeed entertain a trade for Josh Bell.
And I know Pirate fans don't want to hear this because they want to see their team win, and they want to be able to have this rebuild go as quickly as possible. But this might be the best thing that's happened to the Pirates organization. Okay, you have a lost year this year. You don't trade Bell. Assuming everyone comes back in 2021, Dan, the pieces are there. It's just if everyone plays to their potential, and clearly right now we've seen some guys on both ends that have not played to their potential, some other guys that have been hurt, and it all equals to a subpar season. But if you get through 2020, have a great off season, get everyone on the same page in 2021, there are pieces in the cupboard for this Pirates organization to have a sneaky good baseball team.
I think so. Large part is going to be the pitching, and what do they do with that? How do they develop it? But yeah, some of the offensive pieces that we've been talking about that we saw over the weekend against Milwaukee, yeah, that's what you're looking for as you watch the 2020 season and you make your plans for 2021. I do think that they have some pretty good players. However, what they are missing is they're missing a bell cow. They're missing that aircraft carrier. They're missing the star. One thing, if you go back, Ron, and you follow the Pirates for a long time, one thing that they've always had when they have won is that MVP. You essentially need the MVP. When they won it all in '60, they had the MVP, and Dick Groat. When they won it all in '71, they had an MVP caliber player in Clemente, and of course Stargell was bursting onto the scene. They had the MVP in '79 in Stargell. They had the MVP in '92 with Barry Bonds. In 2013, 14 and 15, they had the MVP in Andrew McCutchen. So who is that just big franchise-defining, franchise-altering player? Is it Josh Bell? I don't know. That's, again, the $60,000 question. Is there anybody in the farm system right now that could potentially be that guy? I don't know. Is that somebody that maybe was acquired in the Starling Marte deal? High upside, young A-ball type of players? Who knows? Maybe. So could it be Nick Gonzalez, whom they just acquired, the first-round pick in the draft? Don't know. That's, I think, what they're lacking. But to your point, are there some really nice supplemental pieces that can get them in and towards contention? Sure, no doubt about that.
Dan Zangrilli also is the pregame and postgame host for the West Virginia Mountaineers. And Dan, are you as surprised as I am that the Big 12, the ACC, and the Southeastern Conference looked at the Big 10 and Pac-12 and said, you guys can say no all you want to, we're going to play college football?
No, I'm not. In fact, I was surprised the other way around because I think that the infrastructure is in place, and if disciplined, and if you do have, good testing, you're able to go ahead and pull this thing off. Even though baseball has had some blips along the way, which they've anticipated, they're figuring out a way to coexist and live with this virus. And I know everybody says college football is, the ultimate wild card because you're bringing in, students back onto campus and you're asking 18 to 22-year-old kids to essentially become on the higher spectrum of mature adult, where mature adults aren't even able to adhere to some of the strict protocols and standards needed to make something like sports succeed. But, I'm based in Western Pennsylvania. They're moving forward with high school football. We've seen a lot of summer leagues, AAU, and youth baseball and things of that nature go off without a hitch whatsoever. And I really do buy into the infrastructure argument that many have made, including Trevor Lawrence most notably, that what college football provides for so many young men is far greater as far as sustainability and safety of preventing and mitigating COVID-19 than if you were to just send them home. So, no, I was not surprised that the 3 of the 5 Power 5 conferences were able to get it all together and figure it all out. In fact, I was quite shocked that the Big Ten in particular, with all of their resources, perhaps more so than any of the other 4 Power 5 conferences, decided to take a pass.
Hey, Dan, I know you got a meeting in a couple of minutes, so quickly let's go through West Virginia. Who are some of the names to look out for, and where do you expect the Mountaineers to do this year in the Big 12?
They won 5 games last year. They were only favored, I think, in 2 of them, so that means they came back as an underdog and won 3. I think that this is a team that could win 7 games. Names that you watch for primarily on the defensive side of the ball. Darius and Dante Stills, they're West Virginia kids, local guys, defensive linemen. I think the strength is in that front 4. There are multiple defense, I suppose, but Darius Dante Stills on the defensive side of the ball. And on the offensive side of the ball, really electrifying and exciting wide receiver. Sam James did big things last year. Sam James, I suspect, will do big things this year.
Hey, Dan, always a pleasure. I know you're busy. Thanks for the time, and we'll catch up soon.
All right, guys. Good to talk to you. Thank you.
Same here, brother. Dan Zangrilli, he is the pre-game show host for the Pirates, the Rain Delay Theater, with he and Jack Zerbuck have been at some good stuff. Jack was the general manager of the Mariners when I was in the Double-A voice of the Mariners when our team lost the Cubs affiliation in 07 and 08. No, I'm sorry, 06 and 07. Last 2 years of – no, I was right the first time, 07 and 08. God, the years go by too quickly. 03 to 06, I was doing the Cubs affiliation. And then the last 2 years in Jackson, when I was there, they were the Mariners Double-A affiliate, and Jack was the general manager at that time. And we had some pretty interesting baseball teams in 07, especially 08. I believe we went into the playoffs in 08. Got destroyed in the first round because our first half championship team was up in AAA Tacoma.
Dan does a lot of, he's one of those guys that, like a lot of us at YSN, he wears a lot of hats. He does the pregame show, does the postgame show, does some play-by-play for West Virginia as well, and I'm sure he's got a lot of other responsibilities that he's doing. So, I have all the respect in the world to all those guys that do that because it's what we've been doing for a while.
Yeah, he wears a ton of hats.
It's not easy.
Yeah, it's tough. No two ways about that. But I'm with him on a couple of things. The first, the biggest being, I think the Pirates would be absolutely crazy to trade Josh Bell right now.
Insane, because he said it best. I mean, I think everyone's kind of afraid to say it. What's his value right now? There's so many unknowns. Could be a great player, could be May 2019, but he also could be June 2019 that he fell off a total cliff. I mean, you just don't know enough about him right now to pay what you'd have to pay to get him from the Pirates.
Yeah, I think the Pirates believe that they can get an awful lot in return, and if you put him on the market, my sense is, given the fact that he has struggled this year, you're not going to get anywhere close to market value for a Josh Bell, and I think they would be absolutely crazy to trade a Josh Bell because you're not going to get that market value. And I would further state that, okay, this is a lost year, unless, of course, the Pirates continue to play the caliber of baseball that they played this weekend against Milwaukee, but with 4 of your 5 starting pitchers out, it's going to be incredibly difficult to do that. This is a lost year.
That's what this season's so fun is. Like they have a lot of division games left, and then when that's all you're playing, you can make up ground really quickly.
Oh, yeah.
If you go on a 6 or 7 game run.
Yeah. Look, I mean, they're 5.5 games in back of St. Louis for the second spot, and for those that are wondering how this 8 teams in the postseason works, the top 2 teams in each division go to the playoffs. So you can have a crappy record. You could be below 500, but if you finish in second place, you're still in the playoffs. Now, you're probably the 8th seed.
Or you could get, that one of those 2 wild cards. If all the good teams are taken up by first and second place, then all of a sudden there's 2 more wild cards.
There's 2 more wild cards there. So it's... Again, they have an uphill battle, but I firmly believe that there is plenty of talent in that cupboard. It's just they haven't played to their specifications in offensively and defensively. A couple of guys are doing a really good job defensively. Some others need a little bit of work, but more importantly, their pitching staff is ravaged with injuries.
Can you imagine if they went on a run?
Oh my God, it would be unbelievable. It would be unbelievable if this team wound up, and this is the start of, let's say, a 9-game winning streak. Okay, so 6 more wins total due. Okay, they're still under 500 at 13 and 17, but they would be halfway through the season at 13 and 17. Figure if they can play around 500 the second half of the season, you could be looking at a 7 or an 8 seed. Because right now, the top 6 teams, Atlanta and Miami in the East, Chicago and St. Louis in the Central, L.A. and San Diego in the West. The 7 and 8 seeds are all below 500. They're all below 500.
Right,
so if the Pirates were to play 460, 470 baseball in a 60-game season, you might have the 8th seed. Now, unfortunately for the Bucks, they're at 292. And in order for them to have a 400,
You gotta
470,
have some hope
you're gonna have to up your game and
Give
play some really good baseball.
Give the Pirates fans some hope. I mean, it's there. That's what that 3-game sweep did. It was like, oh, okay, it's possible.
Yeah, I suppose it is. 27 wins
Last week
out of
there-
60 is 450. You're probably going to have to go 28 wins to go to 467.
Before this season, their chances to make the playoffs were 0.2%.
Yeah.
So I think it probably went up to like 1.2.
So for the Pirates to do this, they would have to, and let me do this again. You'd have to have 28 wins. So for the Pirates to do this, they're going to have to win 21 of their last 36 games. So they got to go 21-15 the remaining 36 games in order to win 28 games and have a 467 win percentage, which might be good enough for the 8th spot.
Right.
4 of your 5 starters are out. Your offense, now if they play the way they've played this weekend against Milwaukee, okay. If Bell gets hot and the offense starts scoring runs like this, okay, maybe. But it's 21-15 for a team that has 4/5 of its rotation on the shelf. I'm not buying it. That would be
the story of the century.
Derek Shelton would be the manager of the century.
Right.
Not just the manager of the year, not just the manager of the decade, friggin' manager of the century if he had this team win 28 games this year. And you look at the American League,
Yeah.
and by the way, the Indians, even though they're a game and a half in back of Minnesota, you may want to look behind you because there's a team that I forewarned everyone 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I said, you better be leery of the team down in the south end of Chicago because this train is about ready to take off.
The real dangerous thing is Jose Abreu is starting to get hot.
Yeah.
And if he gets hot in that lineup,
that lineup, it includes Encarnacion and some other veterans, and you get all of them hot at the same time. Oh, dear God.
It runs with Jose Abreu.
Absolutely.
He's the heart of that lineup, and he's starting to hit monstrous.
But
right. I still don't think they'll beat out the Twins and Indians. I think they'll have to be a wild card team.
Well, I mean, okay, you take a look at this right now. Tampa Bay and New York in the East, Minnesota and Cleveland in the Central, Oakland and the surging Houston Astros. Although they've lost their last 3 games, they've won 7 of the last 10. They're the top 6. The 7 and 8 teams right now. Chicago is 586. They're actually playing better than Houston, so they would actually be the 6th best record in the American League. But they would be the 7 seed, and the 8 seed is either Baltimore or Toronto. They're both at 500. There's a pretty good chance, Anthony, the 8 seed in the American League is going to be below 500. There's a pretty good chance the 7 and 8 seed in the National League is going to be below 500. So
I'll take that back. I think the White Sox might have a chance against the Twins because the Twins are starting to unravel a little bit. They have some injuries right now. Their rotation isn't exactly great. There's about 2 games out of every 5 rotations they have to play a bullpen game. They lost Byron Buxton, which hurts them. Josh Donaldson's not coming back anytime soon to their lineup. They lost their catcher Garver, who hit 30 home runs last year. So their lineup's hurting. So I think the White Sox might have an opportunity to come and sneak up on the Twins. I just don't see them sneaking up on the Indians right now.
Well, the Indians have their problems, and it's called lack of an offense. Now, I will say that they did score 4 runs yesterday for the second time, both against the Tigers. They've scored over 4 runs and lost, mainly because Adam Plutko was pitching, and he's garbage in the rotation. And look, Tristan McKenzie needs to get past Plutko and be the 4th or 5th starter. And whether we like it or not,
who pitched on Sunday?
That would be Carrasco, and for the 3rd straight outing, even though velocity-wise, Carrasco's still 94, 95, he was not finding the plate very often.
He's always been a pitcher that goes through a couple spells a season where he has 2 or 3 games where his command goes a little bit off.
Yeah.
And with his velocity, he supplies the power to the bat, so he's going to give up some runs.
And again, this is not like Carlos Carrasco last year when we knew there was something going on because he was throwing in the upper 80s, which is very unlike Carrasco because he normally throws low to mid 90s and 95 miles an hour yesterday. So there's nothing wrong with his velocity. His control was just absolutely horrific for a third straight outing, and he got lit up.
Yeah.
So you are just going to have to deal with that.
We also anticipated that rotation wasn't going to be as sparkly clean as it was for the first 15 games. Like you can't hold
Agreed.
That, you can't hold that standard up. They're still probably the best pitching rotation in the American League, but they're not going to be like the what was it? Their ERA through 15 games was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was around 2, if that.
So
yeah. Look, I mean, it's the pitching staff is going to be solid, and it's going to be the best in the American League.
It has to be because we brought up their division. Their pitching is 4 of their teams in the division are in the top 6 in Team ERA in the American League.
Absolutely, and Minnesota's now starting to show a little bit of signs of some chinks in the armor, which is good because the Twins are in Cleveland starting out a 3-game series as Savali will pitch tonight for the Indians against Maeda in game number 1. Game number 2, Shane Bieber on the hill for the Indians, Rich Hill for the Twins, and then game 3. The scheduled pitcher is Plutko. I would be stunned if Plutko's pitching on Wednesday. Whether we like this or not, it's going to be Clevenger or Plesac, or there's another young kid that is going to be getting a start at some point, Sam Henkes, who's a big, solid Indians farmhand. But one of those 3, maybe Plutko gets the call on Wednesday, but it's the Twins.
I feel like if you win the first 2, they might just throw Plutko out there and try to win.
I want the sweep.
I know, but there'll be a lot more pressure if you split those first 2 to win the series. They might be more inclined to not throw Plutko out there. If they win the first 2, you throw Plutko out there, you try to score off of whoever's pitching for the
Barrios
Twins.
Is pitching in
That's going to be a bullpen.
in game
it's going to
3.
be a bullpen game for them. So, you try to throw and Barrios, the Royals just scored 7 on him on Friday night, so he's not a great pitcher. So you throw Plutko out if you win the first 2, in my opinion, and you count on your offense to give you some runs.
Look, I think the Indians are capable of winning 2 out of 3. They're going to need to win 2 out of 3 in order to get to within a half a game of Minnesota. They cannot lose this series.
Pitch very carefully to Nelson Cruz.
Absolutely.
Because my word, is he hitting well this season. He destroyed the Royals, 6 home runs in 10 games, I think 16 hits. He was the difference maker in a lot of. I mean, if the Twins didn't have Nelson Cruz, the Royals probably go 7-3 against the Twins. But he was the difference maker in about 2 or 3 of those games.
Yeah. By the way, Nelson Cruz is the only guy hitting 300 or better in their everyday lineup. He's hitting 343.
They lost Byron Buxton, who was hitting really well for them. And they also lost Garver, their catcher, who was hitting really well for them. So their lineup's hurting with injuries too.
No doubt.
And
By the way. Again, this is a huge 3-game series, and the Indians are going to need to take at least 2 games in this series. Minnesota's won their last 2, 7 of their last 10. They are 19-10. The Indians are 17-11.
Another guy that's coming on from Minnesota who had a really rough start is Sano. His average isn't going to show it, but I think he's on like a 9-game hitting streak, and he's starting to he wasn't timing the fastball. I saw a lot of the Twins because the Royals played them 10 times in like 14 games. Sano wasn't catching up to the fastball. He's got his timing down, and he's pretty dangerous in that lineup as well.
Yeah, he went 3 for 4 yesterday, and the average is up to 241. But
well.
when you look at an average and say, well, he's only hitting 241. This is what I tell everyone: go back to his last 10 games and see what's going on here.
Polanco's a good hitter. They got good hitters.
Yeah, this offense is solid.
Polanco's solid.
Yeah.
Kepler's pretty good. Let's see some other guys that destroyed the Royals in the last 14 games. I mean, a lot of good things. Byron Buxton was a thorn in our side, so I was glad to see him not in the lineup this weekend. But.
Yeah, this is a solid Minnesota team. There are no 2 ways about it, and you can argue that they are the best team in the Central Division.
You miss their best pitcher though, because you're not facing Dobnak in this 3-game series, and he's been pitching the best for them so far.
Yeah, and again, 19-10. They have the second best record, tied with Tampa Bay. Oakland right now has the best record in the American League at 20
Is that
wins
the
and
biggest
9
shock
losses.
so far, that Oakland has the best record in the American League? Did anyone see that coming?
I think a lot of folks thought that Houston would run away with that division, and here's Oakland off to an amazing start. And, Anthony, we said this. Look, Oakland was going to be one of the 8 teams. I think we can both agree that they were going to be one of the 8 best
21
teams.
and 9, you're pretty much guaranteed a playoff spot now, unless you absolutely tank.
Yeah, 20 and 9. They have obviously 31 games left.
You'd have to be abysmal in the second half.
If they go 11 and 20 in their last 31 games, you're still going to finish 31 and 29.
Yeah.
You're still going to be a playoff team.
Right.
You're the 8th seed in the American League is going to be below 500 or at 500.
Because right now they're at it, right? The 8th, 7th, 8th, they're at it.
Yeah.
So
it just, if you're 31 and 29, you're pretty much going into the postseason. So if you look at the numbers for the Indians, they're 17 and 11. They got 32 games left. For the Indians to go into the postseason, all they need to do is win 14 games. 14 of their last 32. So they can go 14 and 18 in the last 32 games and still finish 31 and 29. And I'm comfortable with the fact that a 31-win team in the American League will go to the playoffs.
But no one wants to do that.
But no one wants to do absolutely not. No.
Win the division and beat the Twins. Get that bugaboo off your shoulders.
Absolutely.
Because you haven't been playing well against the Twins for the last year and a half. So, I'm hoping they can do it. I'd rather see the Indians win the division than the Twins. So.
Yeah, and again, tonight Savali is on the hill, and he's a kid. We'll see what the kid does in a big game situation in Game 1. And this is, you win this game, all of a sudden the Indians are within half a game, and you got Bieber pitching tomorrow night. You really like life if Savali and the Indians win tonight, because you got Bieber pitching tomorrow night. Pretty good chance the Indians are in first place going into Wednesday. And then you have the $1 million decision. Right. Do you let Plutko pitch on Wednesday, or do you bring up Clevenger or Plesac and deal with the players?
I don't think they're ready to do that yet. I don't think they're at that point. I mean, what's in a change in the clubhouse because they definitely weren't ready Saturday because they brought up McKenzie.
Well, also keep in mind they weren't eligible to come up until that Sunday. So true. Now, according to a couple of people in Cleveland, to their credit, Clevenger and Plesac have both completely accepted the demotion. They have not been pissy.
Except for that Instagram post.
Yeah, they haven't been pissy. They've gone about their business. They've done their simulated games. They've been behaving themselves. So Clevenger's last outing was Friday in the simulation. So if you go 5 days, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, his next offer is Wednesday. So I'm not saying
it's up to the club.
I'm just saying don't be a bit surprised if Clevenger gets called up to pitch on Wednesday.
If he does, it better be a team vote. It better be up to the team, because if there's no chemistry there and he comes in, and it's going to be rough. And I think if you're a professional team, you should suck it up and play with him. I've said that before. But once again, it just better be up to the team.
Well, and then you got to, Oliver Perez. Now, last week, Oliver Perez came out and flat out said, I am not going to play if one of these two clowns gets called up. I'll quit.
If he's the only one, deuces. I'm sorry, Oliver. You pitch, once every 5 games, maybe out of the bullpen?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're the only one and you want to stick to your guns with that, deuces to you. Because Clevenger's going to help us win a World Series a lot more than you are.
Good point.
So
that's a good point. All right, MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline is open, 330-886-0813. Take a time out, be back with more. It's a Monday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com.
The details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life. and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
Storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Today in the showers, I'm keeping my eye on in parts of Columbiana County.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
It's a Monday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com. Ron Potesta with you alongside Anthony Hartwig. MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline is open, 330-886-0813. Made mention the AP poll is out, and they included teams that aren't playing football this year, which I think is completely asinine, but neither here nor there. Here is your top 25 teams, according to the Associated Press. Clemson is number 1. Ohio State is number 2. They're not playing.
Yeah, I'm going to take a guess and say they won't stick there in week 2.
Pretty sure they're going to be out of the top 25 before too long. Alabama is number 3. Georgia is number 4. Oklahoma is number 5. LSU, number 6. Penn State, they're not playing. They're at number 7. Florida is number 8. Oregon, they're not playing. They're at number 9. Notre Dame is number 10. Auburn is number 11. Wisconsin, they're not playing. They're number 12. Texas A&M is 13. Texas is 14. Oklahoma State is 15. Michigan, not playing. They're 16. USC, not playing. They're at 17. North Carolina's at 18. Minnesota, not playing. They're at 19. Ohio's team, the Cincinnati Bearcats, at number 20.
There you go.
UCF, they're playing, number 21. Utah, they're not playing. They're at 22. Iowa State is 23. Iowa, they're not playing. They're at 24. Tennessee is 25th.
Wow. Okay. A lot of respect for Tennessee's recruiting.
So let's take a look at the teams. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams in the top 25 that are not playing. So
really, it's the top 16.
So congratulations to Tennessee. They are number 16
Nice.
in the poll. For teams that are going to be playing, Memphis is going to be playing, so they should be in the top 25. They were actually just out of the top 25. Virginia Tech, they're playing. Boise State's in the Mountain West. They're not playing. Arizona State's not playing. The U, so they would be up there. Louisville, they're up there. Appy State,
Not playing.
they're not playing. Washington, not playing. Kentucky, okay. Indiana, no. Baylor, okay. California, no. TCU, okay. Let's do this. TCU, California. Let's see. Virginia, Navy, Florida State, SMU, Mississippi State.
SMU. Are they in the Big 12 now?
No, they're in the AAC.
They're in the American?
No, or the Conference USA. They're in one of those two.
Okay.
Mississippi State, Air Force, Northwestern, and UAB.
UAB's in the Conference USA,
Yes.
right?
So I think there's 9 teams that we just made mention, maybe more. We'd have to do some work. But if you're going top 10 from teams that are playing, Clemson 1, Alabama 2, Georgia 3, Oklahoma 4, LSU 5, Florida 6, Notre Dame 7, Auburn 8, Texas A&M 9, Texas 10.
I don't have too many problems. I would probably flip Auburn and Florida. I think Auburn's going to be a better team than Florida. I would probably put Texas ahead of Texas A&M.
Texas A&M is going to be sneaky good.
They're going to be sneaky good, but I don't know if I think Texas is going to be pretty good.
I'm gonna call my shot right now. Texas A&M upsets Alabama.
When do they play?
Early.
In Texas,
It's
College
in
Station?
College Station. I'm gonna call my shot right now.
Well, I had that shot a couple years ago. It backfired on me.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing that.
Well, I mean, anytime you have a shot against Nick Saban and he has his team playing their A game, that kind of backfires on a lot of people.
I think the team to upset Alabama. I don't even know if they upset Alabama in the SEC. I hate to say it, but it's going to be Georgia.
Florida's not going to be a bad
They're
team
not going to
this
be
year.
bad. They're not going to be bad, but I think Auburn's a little bit better.
I'm not surprised that they had Tennessee in the top 25.
It's all based on the recruiting, though.
Yeah.
Because they've done nothing last year to
Well,
earn that.
and again,
So,
Tennessee had some really bad recruiting years.
They always bring in great talent, and they have an excellent recruiting class this year. So I
Yes.
think that's kind of respect to their recruiting class.
Yeah, no, I think Tennessee finally has the guy that they want in charge of the program.
They've been like LSU, though. They've been a quarterback short of a really good team for a long time.
Yep.
So who's going to be their quarterback, and will they step up? If it's going to be a Tyler Bray type guy, then they're not going to do much. But if it's the closest thing they had to a really good quarterback was Joshua Dobbs, who is playing in Pittsburgh. So for the Steelers,
he had a nice year.
He did some really good things.
Yeah, he did. It hasn't translated to the NFL because he's not anywhere resembling Mason Rudolph, who doesn't resemble Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, he didn't go to a great spot to have immediate impact into their team. But maybe in a couple of years he can go and be a backup somewhere and get a shot at on the field in the NFL.
We had some news yesterday that from the AFC North that broke with Earl Thomas being released by the Baltimore Ravens, which the players, they saw that Earl Thomas was consistently late in team meetings. He was consistently late in other things. He had a bad disposition based on a couple of fights that he was in, and the team basically just said, "Get him out of here. We don't need him."
They're trying to avoid his contract too.
Yeah,
so he doesn't get his guaranteed money.
Absolutely, and they should. I don't think he should be guaranteed a damn thing.
As long as they can legally do it, then as long as it's under the contract that they can do it with him breaking, when they say the standard, that's the wording that they broke team standards. But I think that tears it. I'm picking Pittsburgh to win the AFC North.
I was picking Pittsburgh to win the AFC North anyway.
I was on the fence, but now I'm picking them because now I think Pittsburgh has the undoubtedly better defense, and I'm going to pick Ben Roethlisberger, who's been there and done it before, over Lamar Jackson, who hasn't proven that he wins a big game yet.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people that have been sleeping on the Steelers because they're under the assumption that Roethlisberger isn't going to be able to bounce back from his elbow injury.
There was a guy on ESPN this morning that said Roethlisberger was going to be the 4th best quarterback in the AFC North. I was like,
okay. Okay.
Because he said Roethlisberger was 1, old, 2, paid, so he wasn't going to take this season seriously. He was going to be soft and not win. And it's like, you have 3 quarterbacks in that division who have not done anything in the clutch yet. Some of them that could. Lamar could. Burrows could. Baker could. But they haven't done it yet.
Yep.
And Ben Roethlisberger has done it countless times.
Yeah, Roethlisberger is the only proven commodity of the
so-
four. And it's kind of difficult to say proven commodity when one of them has won the MVP. But I will go back to saying that
But
Lamar
proven-
Jackson, if you have him down by 14, he is a below average quarterback
not.
because he cannot throw the ball.
He's below average only because he doesn't have it up here yet. He's not a leader yet. He's not mentally mature yet. We saw him twice in the playoffs have a meltdown when he was down 14.
Yeah.
Instead of, you look at, I'm not going to sound like a homer. You look at Patrick Mahomes down 24 to Texas, to the Texans. He wasn't panicking. He was leading his team. He was telling his team on the sidelines, we got this. Lamar Jackson was throwing a fit on the sidelines on the bench. The mental maturity isn't there for Lamar Jackson yet. It could be there this season. If it is, the Ravens will win the North. I just haven't seen anything that says it is to pick them to win the North.
See, I think
because Lamar Jackson, if he's mentally mature, then he's gonna run over the league.
This
Because
is
there's just no way to defend him.
This is where, as a Bills fan, as much as I can be down on Josh Allen for his inconsistencies, one of the things that I absolutely love about Josh Allen is he will not have a meltdown. He is about as calm and cool as any other quarterback in the NFL.
They both made mistakes in their playoff losses. The difference was Lamar Jackson made mistakes because he had a mental breakdown, and Josh Allen made mistakes because he was just trying to do too much for his team.
Yeah.
And I would rather have a quarterback that tries to do too much and make mistakes than a quarterback that has a mental breakdown.
And Josh Allen also had some unfortunate drops by Duke Williams, who had a crappy game against Houston. But, there were also some passes
he tried
that
to make some throws that probably shouldn't have been made.
Exactly.
But he was trying to force it to bad situations.
Yep.
It wasn't like he was having a mental breakdown and wasn't putting effort in there. And Lamar Jackson had a mental breakdown.
Yeah, I would, and I know this is going to sound very strange because one has already won an MVP. I will be more than happy to have Josh Allen as a quarterback than Lamar Jackson, because I think long-term Josh Allen, if he can live to his potential and if he can consistently throw the ball down the field, he will be a much better quarterback in the NFL than Lamar Jackson. Not just better, much better. I have said this, and I will continue to say it.
I'm agree to you based on what we've seen so far. But
Yeah.
like I said, if Lamar Jackson gets mentally mature, then sky's the limit for that dude. 'Cause he's got all the talent in the world.
Yeah, and I get it, but
he's
I've
going to be Michael Vick on steroids. And
that's fine. Michael Vick wasn't a great quarterback.
He was.
No, he wasn't.
Especially in Philadelphia.
He absolutely was not.
He
He was absolutely not a great quarterback in any way, shape, or form. He was a nice quarterback. He was a good quarterback. He was not a franchise quarterback.
Couldn't defend him. If he wouldn't have made that stupid dog fighting mistake in Atlanta, he would have been a franchise quarterback in Atlanta.
He didn't win anything.
Yeah, but how many years did he have in Atlanta before he had the dog fighting? Like
Well,
four?
Yeah.
And he took him to the playoffs. He upset the Packers one year in the playoffs. So, yeah, he did win a little bit. I mean, he was on the rise. He was consistently getting them to the playoffs. He was doing what he should have been doing, but he didn't get to the Super Bowl yet. But he definitely was winning a lot.
He also had a very nice defense behind him,
Well,
and
okay.
again, inconsistently throwing
So
the ball
does
down the field.
Lamar Jackson has a really good defense.
He has a
behind
great
him, too.
defense behind him, which is another reason why Lamar Jackson is a teeny tiny bit overrated. Because if you put him in a average defense, he's going to be behind the eight ball an awful lot, which will give him the mental breakdown, which would give him a losing team. Just saying.
If Lamar, we don't know if he grows up mentally between the ears.
Yep.
He
could be fun. He could be fun to watch. I mean, he already is fun to watch. I just, when you're down 14-0, I want to see you put on your big boy pants and go out and play some football and not be predictable and start throwing the ball all over the place and you can't hit anybody. But I've said this about Allen, and I know a lot of people think that I'm crazy when I say it. He is a poor man's John Elway right now. He knows how to run. He runs like Elway. He's built like Elway. He actually has a better arm than John Elway, which is ridiculous on the surface. But then you look at Josh Allen throwing 80, 90 yards, which he can do. That's. Now, the only thing is, unlike Elway, Josh Allen has yet to
do it,
to grow into the role of I'm going to be the guy that's going to be the sure thing when I have the ball in my hands with 3 or 4 minutes to go in the game. Saw it a couple of times last year, was pleasantly surprised, especially the Thanksgiving Day game against the Cowboys. That might have been the best game he has ever played, and you know it's there.
But then it wasn't there for the last 5
But
years.
it wasn't there against New England. It wasn't there against Baltimore. It wasn't there in the second half against Houston in the playoffs. It's got to be there in order for this team to go far in the playoffs, because all of their pieces in Buffalo, as I knock on wood and pray to the football god, small g, they have got a bitch of a defense. Their defensive line is going to be, if not the best, or one of the best in the National Football League. Their linebackers are assassins in football gear. Their DBs are crazy good. Their receivers are solid. Their offensive line is solid. Their running backs are nice, not great, but nice. Everything is there for Buffalo to take the step, win the East, and take a reasonably big step and go deep into the playoffs. It just depends on whether or not Josh Allen takes that large step like he did year 1 to year 2. He's got to take another large step year 2 to year 3.
Yeah, he's really. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm still not sold. They should win the East. They should win the East.
I hope so.
But it's New England. It's New England.
Look, New England is the team that I am still petrified of, and it's not because of any one player. Their players are nice. None of them are great. They're nice players. It's that coach that is the greatest football coach not named Lombardi in National Football League history. He is a freaking genius, and he can put together a bunch of 9-year-olds, and they would still win.
If he goes for some, let's say he wins the Super Bowl this year. I don't think it'll happen, but if he does, do you put him above Lombardi? If he takes what they have in New England now and says, I'm still good enough to go win a Super Bowl?
If he can win a Super Bowl with the team that he has.
I mean, because he's close to Lombardi right now.
He's close to Lombardi.
He's close.
Here's the difference between Lombardi and Belichick. Lombardi never had a season below 500. Now, granted, he only coached 9 or 10 years because cancer ultimately killed him. He started in '59 with the Packers. That team was a 1-win team when he took it over. Had the team above 500 his first year, 7-5-2 if I'm not mistaken, or something of that nature. And then they were winning championships. 60 they went to the NFL title game, lost to Philadelphia. 61 and 62 they won the championship. 65, 66, and 67 they won the NFL title. Won Super Bowl I, won Super Bowl II. So that's seven championships, 5 NFL championships, 2 Super Bowl championships. And again, you have to separate the Super Bowl from the NFL championship in the first 4 Super Bowls, because the AFL was a completely separate league from the NFL. So you do have to separate the Super Bowl from the NFL championship in Super Bowls 1 through 4. So Lombardi won 7 championships in 9 years in Green Bay, and I think he had a record above 500 when he was in Washington in '69. And I will go to my grave saying this, Anthony. Had Vince Lombardi gone to a doctor to let him get a complete physical, which includes a rectal exam, so you could check and see if he doesn't have colon cancer, which is what killed Lombardi. Had Lombardi actually said, hey, I'm going to go take care of myself and go to the doctors, and I'm not going to, be pissed at a doctor for giving me a rectal exam, the Pittsburgh Steelers dynasty of the 70s doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
I can see that.
And I'll take it a step further. That 74 draft in which the Pittsburgh Steelers, in order, Lynn Swann, round 1, Lambert, round 2, Stallworth, round 3, Webster, round 4. You think these 4 guys would have been, or 3 of these 4 guys would have been around when Lombardi was picking? Oh, hell no. Lombardi knew talent. Now, granted, he also didn't didn't hold draft picks at a very nice spot, but he knew talent.
Before you even get to what they do to the Steelers, the Cowboys might not be America's team.
No, because Washington would have beat him. Hell, he owned Landry in the 60s.
Right.
He owned Landry 2 times. Dallas had a better team than Green Bay. I think that a lot of people can argue the Cowboys of the 60s had a better team than the Packers. Lombardi outcoached Landry 50 ways of Sunday in both of those games.
Simply put, there's a reason that his name's on the trophy.
Yeah, I mean, if Landry had won the first 2 games.
It's not just because he won the first Super Bowl. It's because of everything that Lombardi the legacy he left. There's a reason why they named the trophy Lombardi. I don't think they would have named it the Hank Stram Trophy if the Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
No.
So,
but I will say this: had Tom Landry beaten Lombardi in those 2 games in Dallas the year before, when Dandy Don threw an interception with a pass rusher in his face, and he threw an interception in the end zone. Otherwise, it could have been an overtime game. And then in the freezing cold at Lambeau, the Ice Bowl, where Starr was able to get the key block from Jerry Kramer, and they chopped Jethro Pugh down, and Starr goes into the end zone for the touchdown. If Dallas wins both of those games, they are going to go on and win the Super Bowl, because they were going to beat the heavily they would be the heavy favorite against Kansas City and Oakland. You'd be looking at the Tom Landry Trophy and not the Vince Lombardi Trophy. Just saying.
But Lombardi was a much better coach.
Exactly. And that's why, to me, Lombardi's the greatest coach to ever play the game or to ever coach the game. Now, he doesn't have the longevity that Belichick has, nor does he have the longevity of Paul Brown or Chuck Noll or Don Shula or some of the other coaches, but Lombardi never had a losing record.
No.
That, to me, look, I mean, that's unbelievable. He took a god-awful Washington team, in 69, and with a bunch of mediocre at best talent, had a team above 500. I mean, you coach your ass off and take a bunch of misfits and have them go above 500, yeah, in my books, he's the best of all time. But Belichick is up there. To answer your question, long way around, if New England wins the Super Bowl this year, Belichick is the greatest coach to ever play this game or coach this game. Right. Hands down. Because this team shouldn't even win the division, let alone win the division, go to the Super Bowl, knock off, in my mind, the next dynasty in Kansas City, assuming everyone is healthy. You'd have to knock off, even though Baltimore is a average team, especially when you have them down. They're still a tough nut to crack. I still think Pittsburgh is the best team in the AFC North, and they are going to be an absolute disaster to deal with in January. You're telling me that that New England would have to, at some point in time, knock off Pittsburgh and Kansas City to go to the Super Bowl? No.
And it would have to also be the revival of Cam Newton's career.
Absolutely. And not to mention the fact that you would have to beat a superior team in the NFC.
Right. Probably going to be...
who knows who it is, but it's going to be a superior team in the NFC.
I'd be shocked if it's not the 49ers again, to be honest.
Honestly, I think it's going to be New Orleans.
Well,
but either or...
New Orleans keeps choking in the playoffs.
Yeah, but I mean, either or, you're going to be looking at a vastly superior team. If New England wins the Super Bowl this year, not only am I pissed as a Bills fan, but I bow down to Belichick and say, "You're the man." That's okay. You are the guy, and I bow down to you. The Sensei Belichick. Yeah. Well, we're just grasshoppers in this world, Mr. Sensei Belichick. Munch Bishop is coming up in a bit. We'll catch up with Munch. It is a Monday edition of Running Point. Stick around, more to come.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
to help you with your Medicare needs.
Myers Family Insurance looks forward to helping you now. For years to come, so call our family today and remind them how cute we are.
Myers Family Insurance continues to be the area's resource for all your Medicare and retirement needs. Call today, 330-286-3044.
It is a Monday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com. Ron Potesta with you alongside Anthony Hartwig. He won't be here Tuesdays, Thursdays, or Fridays. My man's bailing on me because he's got work to do. You know, now that I'm on 5 days a week, he's going to bail 3 of the 5 days and leave me hanging. That's all right. That's all right.
You're not bitter about it, right?
Yeah, I'm not bitter at all. No. Not at all. That means that I can spend more time with this guy. You hear him mornings up in Cleveland, 1350 The Gambler. He is Mark Munch Bishop, and he joins us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Munchy, what's up, my brother?
I'll be joining you guys. Well, you got me now?
Yeah, I got you now. What's up?
Already getting texts, people saying, hey, not only do I love Ron's show, which I do too, but looking forward to having you on there. So especially shout out to Champ with a little text earlier. Looking forward to this segment of the show.
Yeah, this is we're going to have a little bit of fun. Hopefully we can do this every Monday at this time. Now that we're closing in on football season, we do have high school football in the Valley. I got to ask you, Munch, up in Cleveland, are there some teams that have decided to shut it down for the year?
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you this. None of the teams have decided to shut it down. School boards have decided to shut it down. In fact, Ronnie, and it was heartbreaking, I made my way to most of the Senate teams' practices the last week that they were around, and to a coach, these guys, hey, you know what? Do they want to win some games? Sure, but even talk to Ted Gibbs Sr., and he'll tell you that much. I need to save lives and save souls. And to a man, these coaches looked me in the eye and said, Munch, these young men were safer with us 5 hours a day practicing football than they are now. We don't know what they're doing. We don't know where they are. Many of them are unsupervised totally. I was actually at a stirring speech from Ronnie DeCepeda from John Hay High School, and he looked at his team. And, Ronnie, these are not shelves of teams. Just about every team had 60 kids out in the Senate telling me the kids want to play football. But he looked at his young men before they parted way the last day of practice. He said, hey, one split-second bad decision could alter your life forever. Please don't do that. And, Ronnie, you're going to like this. He goes, all right, guys, on the line. Give me one last gasser. One of the kids looked at their watch and said, Coach, we're 5 minutes past practice time. We'll see you later. I got to love that one.
Oh, Lordy.
And in my alma mater, Solon, they're still not practicing. It was a school board mandate. So, no, you know what, man? None of the schools have shut it down. Anyone that's been shut down has been told by other parents. And, Ronnie, I know guys want to play football. And I'm not just talking teams that were going to steamroll to maybe 8-2, 9-1, 10-0 records. Everyone I talk to, coach-wise, says, listen, do you think we're going to put these kids in harm's way? Do you think this will happen, that'll happen? No. And most of them were devastated because they feel the kids are not as safe as they would be with them.
Yeah, it's interesting. All 45 of our teams in Trumbull, Mahoning, and Columbiana counties were a go, and all 45 of them will be playing football beginning Thursday night. I think we got a handful of games on Thursday and a bunch of games on Friday, so all 45 of them are going to be in action. Now, the weird thing is you've got 15% capacity, so there's a lot of really small schools that have like a 2,000 or 3,000 seat stadium. Now you're looking at anywhere from 300 tickets for the 2,000 seat stadium to 450 tickets available for a 3,000 seat stadium. So it's going to be parents and friends and not the average fan getting tickets to these games, Munch.
No, there's not at all. It's, you know what? It's one of the things that we look forward to, whether it's Thursday night, mostly Friday night, or occasionally on a Saturday afternoon, which is a nice little break in the action, or a Saturday night. It's what we do. But right now, we have to understand that, let the kids play, and we're going to have to give up at times going to see them so they can play. You know what? It's not so much protecting the young men on the field, it's protecting us in the stands. There's no doubt about it. I don't think anybody's doing it out of cruelness. They're just trying to stay the quote-unquote social distance.
Hey, Munch, good news and bad news for the Browns and their fan base. The good news is the Browns get some help in a inexperienced side of the ball. Their linebackers a little bit inexperienced. Mack Wilson with an injury possibly could miss the year. They step up. They get a former Super Bowl MVP in Malcolm Smith. I think it's a good sign. Now, I don't know how much tread on the tire he has left, but I think that this guy is a really good character, both in the locker room and outside on the football field. I think that he's going to be a guy that can certainly motivate his teammates on the defensive side of the ball.
With you 100%. The thing else too about Malcolm is that think about this, Ronnie. A season begins 3 weeks from yesterday. I was thinking 4 weeks, so I looked at the calendar. I go, son of a gun, because this is the summer of not truly a summer. It's like, what the hell's going on here? But the bottom line is the Browns have addressed this, but they need to address it more. Ronnie, I got to tell you something. There's big problems on that defensive side of the ball. Last year we thought we had a lot of depth. We, of course, I'm not suited up for the team. We thought they had a lot of depth on the line until some guys went down. We said, wait a minute. There's no depth on this line. And right now, linebackers are woefully thin. The thing that jumped out of me, Ronnie, and I know that we all enjoyed the play of DeQuell Jackson, DQ, when he was here. The first year he had over 100 tackles. I was talking to him. He said, Munch, they don't mean a damn thing. So I was tackling these guys 5 yards upfield. Because where do I start hitting them at the line or getting them in the backfield, which he started doing his second year? Bro, the Browns gave up 5 yards a rush last year. A lot of that is because the linemen are tied up and the linebackers got to come up and make some plays. Oh, let's hope they can do that. But no, the pedigree of Smith is stellar. You look at different schools. Hey, I like linebackers from USC, okay? And I'll jump on one in a hurry. But no, he's a vet. He has seen it all. He's done it all. He's reached the highest plateau there is. You know what I need him to do, too? Wear that Super Bowl ring sometimes on occasion and show the young fellas what it looks like, that not a lot of people have them.
One of the things that, of course, everyone's worried about what the COVID effects are going to be and the players that might get it during the season. But if you look at the injury reports of a lot of the teams throughout the league, the problems have been like soft tissue injuries, pulled hamstrings, muscle strains, things like that. Do you think that's going to be a nagging problem because they don't have the same amount of time to gear up as they normally would?
So, good point. Just remember this, though. Every team is going to have to put up with that. I was horrified. Even with Myles Garrett, I'm thinking, wait a second. This guy is supposed to be in all this shape. He can leap, whatever it is, 50 inches onto a bunch of boxes. By the way, Alex Boone has a higher vertical than him. I'm just saying, and he outweighs him by 80 pounds. But the bottom line is this. What kind of shape are you guys in? You tell me you've been working out. Tell me you've been stretching. Tell me you've been running. Apparently, and we've seen it on other occasions too, if they're not supervised, the workout isn't quite what it should be. I was horrified and shocked, not just at those types of injuries, my friend, but at who was getting them, and not just the Browns, but across the league.
Hey, Munch, obviously the bad news for the fans, the city of Cleveland put the kibosh on tailgating this fall. I'm a little surprised by that. I mean, look, I don't know if the fans are going to be able to go to a ball game or not, but if you're going to a ball game, tailgating that goes hand in hand with the ball game experience. I'm a little surprised that the city has decided to forego the tailgating portion of the football experience.
Ron, you know what I think it was? And again, rarely do I use the word think, so I'm not sure in this case. I don't feel that they were, quote-unquote, worried about the fans going to the game. You know what it was going to be? It was going to be the fans that could not go to the game that were drinking basically from what? 7 a.m. till the game ended at 4 or 5. I think that's what they were looking at when that happened. But, again, it's part of the experience. It's part of football, and it's been taken away. So invite me to your house because there'll be a lot of house parties for the Browns this year.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. The Browns open up the season against the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore says goodbye to Earl Thomas. I think that's an interesting turn of events over the weekend. Not necessarily because of all the fisticuffs that he had in the training camp. I guess word is he was late in a lot of meetings, and the players just had enough of his garbage.
Brother, you know what? I'm seeing more and more the players speaking of, that's not throwing anyone under the bus. Now, if it's one time, something happened with the fam, you understand. But my golly, it's like, wait a minute. To be a team, we need to be here. We need to do this. We need to be as one. Hell, I've said for years, the great Jimmy Lachey now won't be doing color commentary for the Buckeyes this year. But, of course, the lineman formerly for the Redskins, the old saying that 5 fingers going into a glove with an offensive line, that's the beauty of football. 11 guys, no matter what you're playing, offense, defense, punt return, punt block, kickoff, field goals, whatever it might be, they've got to act as one. And you know what? When you got the lone wolf out there doing what he wants to do, it's not going to work. Shocks me, though, and I am going to say it, is that shows you team chemistry-wise, but I still can't believe, and many of those guys aren't there yet, they still put up a statue and tolerated a guy involved with double murder. That's all I'm going to say.
Munch Bishop joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Is this the biggest game of the series for the Indians to this date against the Twins starting tonight?
All three are running. You got to take 2 or 3. You're home. The Tigers never should have been able to do what they did to the Indians. So you want to set the tone. You're going against Maeda, who right now is their Beaver. But the bottom line is, if you do fall tonight, then you got to take 2. Be nice to take the first one, though. Just, hey, right now the fans are scratching their heads, saying, wait a minute, how'd you lose 2 or 3 to the freaking Tigers, okay? And I can give you reasons how they lost them.
Well, I mean, look, if the Indians win tonight, you got to feel great knowing that Bieber's pitching on Tuesday, and nothing is certain in life. But if the Indians win tonight, pretty good chance they win on Tuesday. They're up a half a game. Plutko is supposed to go Wednesday. You still have Clevenger. You still have Plesac that are doing their thing over in the minor league complex in Eastlake. And by the way, Clevenger last pitched on Friday. His next spot in the rotation is Wednesday. That happens to be when Plutko's pitching. I'm just saying. Look, if they bring him up, Oliver Perez has flat out said, if any of these 2 clowns get called up, I'm done. I'm going to bow out for the rest of the year. Is there anyone else in that clubhouse that is that adamant against these 2 coming out and coming back this year?
Ronnie, pretty much the entire team. Let me hit you with 2 things here. Number 1, Plutko will not see that start, okay? He just can't. Number 2, I was told that Clevenger and Plesac have been model citizens. They come in early. They do all the stretching and working out with the raw rookies, all right? Whoever's there, they are working out with them side by side. Then they go do their thing as called for. Yeah, Oliver said that. I can't blame him. I know Frankie Lindor, he's got other problems too, mainly he's not concentrating at bat, swinging at stuff blowing away in the dirt. But the bottom line is Frankie was devastated too as team leader. How could you guys possibly do this to us, okay? Plesac should have been curb stomped, okay, for his video, maybe on a soft curb or something like that because you want the guy around for a little bit. But the bottom line is the team's going to have a lot to do with this. people change their opinions, and I would have hoped, Ron, if not, then they can't come back. But I would have hoped that both of those young men, and they're both young men, Clevenger's still a young man, would have at least called Tito, Cookie, the two guys at the biggest risk from their miscues, also Frankie, Plutko, and even an Oliver Perez, guys that were adamant and vehement, just saying, you know what, man, all I could do is apologize to you. This will never happen again. I'm a fool. I'm a jag, you know. I'm down the line. I'm asking you for forgiveness. Let's hope they've done that. I don't know if they have or not. I could see Oliver changing his tune if indeed he gets that.
Well, there's one guy that I'm so glad that he got the opportunity to pitch in the big leagues, and that's Tristan McKenzie, who pitched on Saturday. He was dynamite, and I've been singing his praises ever since I saw him pitch in Mahoning Valley 4 years ago. This kid is unbelievable, and I had said when Bieber was called up and Clevenger and all these other guys, I said, you haven't seen the best that this organization has in terms of pitching. The best is Tristan McKenzie, and I don't know if McKenzie's going to make that jump to where Bieber is today, but Tristan McKenzie was looking really, really good on Saturday night against Detroit.
But I was assured by Joe Torres, the minor league pitching development coordinator, that he would be ready. Talked to Joe today, and he said, Bunch, was he ready? He was more ready than I thought to. Think about this. He said, okay, young fella, we'll give you 5 or 6 innings depending on how you feel. He breezed through 6. Number 2, we're going to give you 85 pitches. He threw 80. Number 3, for a guy that comes over the top like he does, you know, the arm slot is different, harder to throw strikes. His first 8 pitches were strikes. And number 4, Ronnie, think about this. 80 pitches, 10 strikeouts, that's almost freaking impossible.
Yeah, and he's the second pitcher to ever have 10 or more strikeouts in his major league debut. The other guy, not too shabby, even though he wasn't an Indian for very long, Louis Tiant.
Oh, El Tiante, you want to put him up there? Totally different styles of guys.
Yeah, but and listen, if he can pitch like Tiant did in his heyday, I'll take it.
Greatness from Tiant, no doubt. You know, it's funny. I had a chance to talk to Louis last time. What a just unbelievable man. Still loves life. Still loves his Cuban cigars on occasion. And dude, talk about Fernando. Remember when old Fernando used to look to the heavens? Louis was doing that back in the '60s.
The other team we got to talk about in the Central, I mean, the White Sox are making a huge run of it, and they might be a dangerous team for whoever loses this Cleveland-Minnesota series. They'll be right on their back looking for that number 2 spot. What have you seen from the Chicago White Sox to make them a contender? We've been talking about them for 2 years, but now it looks like they put it together.
You know, talking to people in Chicago, here's the thing. And they're excited about the White Sox. And this is back when we thought we were going to have a normal season. I was told, dude, watch their bats. Once they wake up, they are going to be scary. However, I was also told after Giolito, you might as well toss out the rest of the starters. You can't count on them. And something else is that they have a hard time catching the baseball. And that may come back to haunt them and bite them. However, if they're going to put 6, 8, 10 runs on the board every 3 out of 4 games, they could drop the ball on occasion. I'm not saying you want them to, but yeah, this team is coming around quickly. And remember, like you said, for years we heard, well, they traded all these guys away, got all these young fellows, but now they can finally come around. Well, we're starting to see them come around.
All right, Munch, I got 2 more things. We got to touch on the Cavaliers. For a team that was god-awful again this year, once again they get hosed out of the top 3 in the draft lottery. They're going to be picking 5th. Now,
but hold on, people are texting me that night saying we got screwed again. How do they get screwed again? I don't see any frozen ping pong balls or envelopes. I mean, it happens. And it happens.
Yeah, it's bad luck. I mean, there's no other 2 ways around it. Now, if I'm Cleveland, and we talked a little bit about this on Friday, I want to throw a trade out your way. Seems to me that Golden State still has 1 or 2 more years left once you get everyone healthy again, and they just need a post presence and maybe one other player to get them back to the NBA Finals. If I'm Cleveland. Yeah, Drummond cashed in on his last year, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have to keep him. If I'm Cleveland, I'm offering up Drummond and Garland for the number 2 pick and going out and getting the kid from Memphis at number 2, and then
Oh,
snag.
no, Ronnie, not Wiseman.
Why not?
I don't like the kid's attitude. I just don't like it. You talk about attitudes. I'll tell you who I'm enamored with. I'm in love with it. Saw a lot of Obi Toppin, but my golly, I'd like the 6'8" point guard who can put the ball in your hands when you're the only one that knows it's coming.
Okay. All right.
I'm talking Mr. Ball. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, but I'm not enamored with Ball because you got to deal with the old man.
Oh, that's a negative as much as you can. No, bro, I wouldn't do Drummond for Wiseman. I just wouldn't do it.
All right, I mean, if you have the 2 and the 5, now all of a sudden that rebuild could, depending on how you do this, the rebuild could be a lot quicker. And again, if you trade Garland, all right, now Sexton is your point guard for forever and a day, and you still have the number 2, which I consider to be a Porter Jr. For me, he really impressed me in his rookie year. And if you can go get a wing and a guy that can protect the rim and get better on defense, I think this team could make a serious jump. I would go and get the 2 and without trading away the 5, and then have 2 of the top 5 picks in a weak draft, but still a draft where you can get 2 quality players.
So here's the thing, though. See, I feel they're further ahead by keeping Drummond than Wiseman. That, okay, they're 2-3 years ahead of the curve than Wiseman developing. That's my feelings about Drummond there.
Yeah, but are you guaranteed that Drummond's going to be the guy for years to come because he only has 1 year left on his deal?
That is true. And then what you got to do, you got to keep him, simply put. And we'll see what happens with that.
I mean, it's going to be an awful lot of fun to look at. It's the Cavaliers have some interesting options, but assuming they don't get the number 2 pick, what are you thinking for 5? I mean, do you go with best player available?
Bro, you almost have to. However, right now, what is the weakest part of the team? Is it the 3?
Probably.
Yeah, and again, Sexton at point guard. Boy, that's what I'd love to have, but a real point guard. And Sexton is really mismatch on defense playing the 2, even though he's a great player. I like Sadiq Bey out of Villanova. He's a 3. He's 6'8", and a pretty damn good player, and comes from a pretty good system too.
Yeah, and Okoro is a shooting guard, but then again, you already have enough. You have enough backcourt guys that if you're looking to get a wing, the kid from Florida State, Devin Vassell, is a nice player. But it's just go get a wing or go get a rim protector. But I think that if the Cavaliers can get the right guy, man, the sky's the limit for this team down the road. But the one guy that I'm curious about is the kid from Israel, Avdija.
It's funny because his name, every time I talk to someone, his name pops up. And you know what you got to be thinking, Ronnie? I'm not saying it's going to be that easy, but who the hell knew who Luka Doncic was? Right now, he's probably the second best player in the league behind LeBron.
Yeah, and you're
overseas.
Yeah, and you're hoping that lightning strikes twice. Hey, can we make this a Monday affair every Monday, Munch?
Let's plan it. I'll put it in my calendar. Unless something comes up, I will let you know, my friend.
All right, brother. Always happy to talk with you, brother.
Appreciate your time and appreciate you having me.
All right, man. See you. Well, there he is, Munch Bishop on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. I thought for a second there that he was going to come through the phone. No, you can't do that. No, Wiseman.
Not so fast, my friend, says Munch.
Hey, look, Wiseman's 7'1". He's a big boy.
He's got a point. His kind of attitude and his demeanor doesn't exactly scream, fruitful NBA career. But things could change really quick.
I get it. I understand where he's coming from, and he didn't play very many games with Memphis.
If you're a number 2, you take him.
Obviously. Unless, of course, Minnesota decides to go with him, and then you have Anthony Edwards. But, Anthony Edwards is not a good fit in Cleveland because he's a guard, and you got enough guards. But
then you go back
Edwards is unbelievable.
We talked about this in the NFL draft. If someone that good's available,
you got to take him.
You take best player available.
Absolutely. With Edwards, you got to take him because he is the best guy in this draft, hands down.
Played at a
there's
played at a terrible program.
Well, look, I get it, but it's still
no.
He's the best player.
He's really good. He's going to be a good NBA player, but I'm going to always bust his chops.
Well, because he's a Georgia guy. I get it. The Georgia Tech. How much of a Georgia Tech is this guy wearing his LSU gear?
It's softball,
I'm just saying.
Shout out to Beth Trina for keeping me kind of, revved up for LSU because I had a friend that she played for Miami of Ohio, shortstop for 2 years, transferred to LSU, and caught for them for her final 2 years of their career. So,
what was it when South Range went to the state championship game and got beat by Wheelersburg? What was it, 3 years ago?
Yep, they had a shortstop.
Yeah, their shortstop went to LSU.
Yep, she did.
Is she playing?
Yeah.
Okay, because what I saw from that girl. Oh my God! Could that girl play softball? Yeah. She was. She looked the part of a major college softball player.
She's impressive.
Yeah, she was very impressive. All right, we're going to take a timeout. On the other end, we'll take some phone calls. MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business. 330-886-0813. Back in a bit.
They say American craftsmanship is making a comeback. Of course, at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, it never went away.
People are floored by Baird Brothers' authentic hardwood floors. They stare at our stairs and adore our doors. Baird Brothers reflects 3 generations of family craftsmanship. Visit our huge in-stock selection in person or at BairdBrothers.com.
Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is here, so it's all hands on deck to make sure your plan still meets your needs for 2020.
Call us today.
Welcome back to a Monday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. It's now 5 days a week, noon to 3, Monday through Friday, as we are into the Week 1 portion of the high school football season, and we will get things going here as quickly as possible. We got a plethora of games on Friday, handful of games on Thursday, including Cheney's taking on Ursuline, Canfield is playing Howland. Niles is playing Jefferson, Sebring and McDonald. Dover is playing Louisville. We welcome Louisville to the YSN family. So
I think Cheney Ursuline's going to be real fun.
Yeah, Cheney and Ursuline is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
But then after that, guess what? We have 15 games on Friday night, and then we're not done. We got 2 more on Saturday.
Yeah, we got Valley Christian and East Palestine, Lowville and Jackson Milton.
If for some reason you think that's not enough coverage, guess what? We have a Red Zone live show on Friday night that'll take you to each game. If a team's in a scoring situation, boom, we're going right to it. So,
yeah, this should be fun. It's going to be. If you think of the Red Zone, we're going to emulate that on YSN. It's called Audible Call,
hosted by Mike Ackelson.
Yeah,
Mike Attack is back.
Yeah, Mike Ackelson, former weekend anchor at TV 21, is in the fold. He will be hosting Audible Call. This should be a lot of fun. Let's go to the hotline. Tony, you're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. What's up, brother?
Hey, guys. Thanks for covering football so well, especially this year. That's really great.
Should be fun.
Yeah. Hey, I got the Tribune this weekend, my Warren Tribune, and I was thanks for the tip on that, and I grabbed the football section of it. It was interesting. And do you guys have any thoughts on who are the top teams in the area yet, or is it you haven't got around enough to have an opinion?
No, I mean, the blue blood teams that we normally see are going to be a lot of fun to watch. I mean, I think, look, everyone needs to keep their eye on Springfield. They went the furthest last year, and I think that there's going to be an opportunity for Springfield and D6 to put together a really nice season. I think Poland in D4 is close to a complete team. I know they're going to be able to run the ball really well behind that enormous offensive line. I think JFK in D7 is going to be an awful lot of fun to watch. Ursuline in D4 will be a very difficult team to.
Why do you say Ursuline? They had a pretty average at best season last year, right?
Well, they got a lot of kids back on offense, and they have a loaded offense.
Just wait till you see their offense. They have 3 running backs that would start anywhere else in the area.
Yeah, except for Letonia.
Now, get ready for the smart-ass comment. How many footballs do they have?
Now that's exactly, and we'll see what happens with Ursuline.
Maybe they should have converted 2 of those guys to linemen, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, they're going to be a lot of fun to watch. I think Fitch is going to be a very, very tough team in D2. I think Harding and Boardman.
Who's coaching Fitch now? Thank you.
Hang on a second, and I will let you know. And I should know this. T.J. Parker is going to be the head coach at Fitch.
Okay, where did he come from? I know they had an interim coach last year.
To be honest with you, I'm not sure. I know he's in his first year at Fitch, and he's got an awful lot of talent back from last year, and they should be an awful lot of fun this year. I think all of the Division II programs, Tony. I think Harding will be a fun team to watch this year. Boardman and Fitch play each other in Week 1, so we'll see which one is the better team come Friday night when those 2 teams play each other.
Canfield's going to be really fun.
Yeah, Canfield will be a good team, and don't sleep on Hubbard. We mentioned JFK.
Why are you saying Canfield? I know they play Howland first week, and that's a pretty tough draw for Howland the first game out.
Yeah, I think Howland or Canfield has some interesting pieces that are back. I think that there's a lot of potential there. It's, again, there's going to be some young kids there, but I think there's an awful lot of potential. So
they're coached up well. I mean,
Pavlansky's one of the better coaches in the area, no doubt.
So let me throw a comment on Kennedy. Even though they have a new coach this year and they lost, but the influence is still there. Kennedy, they have Cam Hollabaugh, who was, and I've been talking about him for 2 years since he was a freshman. He was an All-Stater last year, first-team All-Stater.
Yeah.
He plays any position on. This is an athlete. This is the kid who plays every sport. Parents, let your kids play every sport. Just a phenomenal athlete at that level. So they're in a good position there. And their running back, this Likens kid, is he just committed to go to somewhere pretty big. So I can't remember where it was.
Air Force.
Yeah, Air Force. Yeah, he's going to go to Air Force.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they've got some. You don't need a lot of big pieces on a small school like that to make a run. So it's fun to watch them. And then another kid I've been talking about since he was a sophomore, and he really impressed me as a sophomore. Had a solid year last year, and I talked about the resiliency of this program. They were persistent. They stayed at you. This quarterback at Niles put him on about 15, 20 pounds of solid muscle. Leonard kid, the quarterback. So watch him. He's well seasoned right now.
Yeah, Niles is going to be a lot of fun to watch too. I mean, it just with everyone going to the state playoffs, I'm going to be curious. The 6 games, extremely important to determine how high of a seed you're going to get, and then you got teams that have some really, really god-awful schedules in terms of the talent that they're going to be facing. Harding comes to mind. I mean, if Harding finishes 3-3 with a ridiculous schedule that they have, you'd got to believe they would be a relatively high seed, even though they're 3-3, based on the tough schedule that they have.
Oh, that's right. It's not based on numbers. So interesting. It'll be interesting. And there's plenty of horrible teams in that region. Horrible teams at the bottom to keep Harding pretty buoyed in the standings, the ratings.
And there's no guarantee that teams are going to be wanting to go into the postseason. I mean, you're all invited, but there's going to be some 0-6 and 1-5 teams that may just bow out and say, yeah, we don't want to go to the playoffs because we know pretty much what's going to happen, aka a 40 or 50 point, if not more, beating. So we'll.
They're still permitted, even after they take that beating. They're still permitted to play through the balance of the season, picking up other games. So it really doesn't hurt.
Absolutely, yeah. If they want to go to the playoffs, and then once they lose, they can play games 8, 9, and 10, or if they bow out of the playoffs and schedule 4 other teams. Now, in order to do that, you would have to, in week 7, which is week 1 of the playoffs, if you bow out, in order to play a game, you would have to play a team that also bowed out. Otherwise, you're not playing in week 7.
Yeah. Hey, great, show. I'm glad you're on all week. Good for you guys. I hope you can get the audience all week, and great for you guys. Hey, I got a comment, and I know you guys don't like to deal in facts, but I think I heard maybe the most absurd thing I ever heard. And I know the guy's brilliant, and you always put him on. But somebody came on and said Alex Boone had a higher vertical leap than Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett has a 41-inch vertical leap.
Yep.
Let me put that into perspective. David Njoku was a 7-foot-plus high jumper in high school, has a 37.5-inch vertical leap. Alex Boone's official vertical leap is 27.5. That's and my math may be way off, but I think 41 is a lot higher than 27.5.
Yeah, where I came from school, I think 41 is a bigger number than 27.5. Yeah.
Well, maybe different communities have different math. I guess I don't know. Maybe they're thinking it's a golf score.
All right.
So, okay, buddy. Hey, have a great week, guys.
I appreciate it. And there he goes, 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open.
Tony always ends his call with a bazinga shot at somebody. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, if the numbers are right, 41 is a little bit bigger than 27.5.
A smidge.
Yeah, just a little bit bigger.
But I think Munch was being sarcastic. I don't think he was being serious.
Well, I mean, I don't know. By the way, speaking of big numbers, did you see the golf tournament over the weekend?
Holy, Dustin Johnson.
Dustin Johnson, who I said look out for, but I didn't say he would win. I said frickin' Rory McIlroy. Good God.
30 under.
30 under par. 30. That's just absolutely incredible. He shot a 63 on, keep in mind, this is a par 71. So he shot a 63 on Sunday. To go along with the 64 on Saturday, the 60 on Friday, and oh, by the way, I shot a pedestrian 67, which is 4 under par. 4 under par. Pff, yeah,
that's my worst round.
That's my worst round. Yeah, 30 under par. Ridiculous. Crazy good. By the way, Jason Kokrak tied for 13th, and he is officially in the next round as he jumped from 90-something
I think it was 99
to 66. So
that's exactly where Brian said he'd be, too, right in that 60 to 70 range. So once again, Mr. Tonar.
Yeah. My hat is off to you. I don't have a hat, but it's off to you nonetheless. In order for Kokrak to legitimately jump into the top 30, he's going to have to win. If not, go top 2.
Top 2.
Yeah. Top 3, top 5. I don't even know if a 5th place finish would do it. I mean, it just depends on
How about DeChambeau missing the cut?
Yeah.
That was surprising.
Yeah, and DeChambeau, I mean, he was in the top 2, but he dropped to number 7. Okay, he's still going to be in the top 30.
Right.
Even if he misses another cut, he's going to probably be in the top 30
He can still go
because
out
he's
and win.
accumulated so many points. But still, I mean, that's yeah. We'll see what happens there. By the way, the number 30 guy is Horschel. He has 893 points. Kokrak has 542. All right. So Jason would need to win or be a top 3 type of finisher.
Let's do it.
In the BMW
That would be
Championship.
his first PGA win, right?
Yeah, it would be. Yeah. Now
To get in the cup, let's do it.
the reason, and by the way, Jason was in the top 30 last year, and that's the reason why he is going to go to the Masters. You either have to win on the PGA Tour or finish in the top 30 in order to get to the Masters the next year. Kokrak was in the top 30 in the FedEx Cup Challenge, even though he didn't win. He had a lot of top 20 type finishes, a lot of top 10 finishes. More importantly, he was barely missing the cut like 1 or 2 times on tour last year. This year, he's missed the cut an awful lot, which is the reason why he struggled to get into the top 70. Thankfully, with a good performance this past weekend in Boston, he gets into the top 70.
At least the last couple of weeks, he's gotten past the yips, and
Yes.
they haven't had a stranglehold on him.
Now he's going to have an unbelievable.
He's gonna have to he's gonna have to pull a Dustin Johnson.
Well, yeah, if not finish in the top 3 or top 5 in order to get into the top 30, which would
Shoot a whole 30 under thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, you do 30 under.
Man,
yeah, that's not too shabby. What did Brian say that the winner the win would be like 14?
I think he said like like I thought he was at high teens, low 20s.
Yeah.
Well, he was off by 10.
Yeah, it's who saw Dustin Johnson going 30 under par. I mean, he tore that course up.
The course runner has to be like, well, we better do it next time.
They're looking at this going, guys, what the heck are we doing here? How did this happen? Dustin Johnson was hot. What can we tell you? I mean, it just is what it is. All right, 330-886-0813. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline is open. As we are with you for another, 15 minutes or so. We have the Power Hour coming up at 3 o'clock. By the way, congratulations to, let's see if we get this name right, Takuma Sato, Takuma Sato, the winner of the Indianapolis 500 as they raced in front of nobody.
Hey, you win one of the most prestigious races in racing, period.
Yeah, absolutely. Have the milk.
I wonder if he's the first. What's his? Is he Japanese?
I believe he is.
It might be the first Japanese racer to win in the Indy 500.
Yeah, it's interesting. They had a major wreck with about 3 laps left.
Didn't Andretti have the pole?
Yeah, he wound up finishing 13th.
It was like the first Andretti to have the pole since like 1987.
Yeah, the Andretti jinx continues in Indianapolis. It's I think Mario Andretti won it years and years and years ago, and nobody has in the family has won it since. But they had a major wreck. Yeah, like 2 or 3 laps left in the race. Now, unlike NASCAR, they don't have a gimmick where they immediately hoist a red flag, clean the thing up, and do the overtime crap that they do in NASCAR. They had the race finish under caution. That's it. Game over.
That's anticlimactic.
Sato wins. Yeah, but you know what? I mean, I'd rather have that than a gimmick.
That's like the end of The Sopranos where it just cut off in mid-sit.
And you go dark. Yeah, okay. I get that. But here's the thing with The Sopranos. Not many people understood that 2 or 3 episodes before, Tony talked with Bobby Bacala and said, hey, when you die, it's kind of like everything going black. You fade to black. The Sopranos were always that series where you had to listen and be really mindful of what everyone is saying because he was going to, he being the director, was going to bring some of that stuff back.
I hope they told like HBO, you guys are gonna get a lot of calls.
Oh, they got a
You're
lot of
gonna
calls.
get a lot of calls.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, when the thing went black,
people are gonna think that they just lost their transmission.
Exactly. When this went black, I looked at my ex-wife and I said, "What the is going on here? How the hell does this happen?" And then the credits come out, and I'm like, "Son of a bitch!
They did it.
Look what these guys did.
They did it.
They just did this." I'm like, "Okay." And then I was like, you know, that's actually a brilliant ending because Tony, a couple of weeks earlier, said, hey, you know, when you die, it's either you fade to black. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people couldn't get past Hear Angry and think 2 episodes back.
Oh, no, of course not. Yeah, everyone was losing their mind over this. Good Lord. That was that ending.
It's gutsy. It's gutsy.
That ending was as, I don't think controversial is the right word, but that ending was as talked about as the ending to Tom Hanks' movie where he was Castaway, where he's at the 4-way stop sign and the attractive woman stops her truck and he's asking for directions and she's giving him a direction in each way. This will take you to the highway and take you to Flagstaff and blah, blah, blah. And this one, if you follow this road, this will take you all the way up to Canada. And then these two or whatever. And then she leaves and you've got Tom Hanks' face. And he's just looking into the camera and the movie ends. I'm like, what the hell?
That and the ending of Lost got a lot of people really upset.
Yeah, that's another one.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you haven't seen the ending of Lost, that you're
all dead.
Yeah.
You're dead.
You're pretty much SOL if you haven't seen the ending of Lost.
How about that? The ending of Lost. Everything you just watched.
It's all dead. Yeah.
Pointless because they're all dead.
Well, okay, I'll give you another one, and for folks that remember this series from the 1980s, bleeding into the early 90s, Seen Elsewhere, which just exploded the career of Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Exploded the career of Howie Mandel, among other people. But the ending of Seen Elsewhere was a kid with what was it? Was it one of the not disease, but a condition, Down syndrome, and he had a little ball that had all the snow and whatnot, the snow globe, and there's the hospital, and he's shaking this snow globe, and it was all in this kid's mind of this hospital. Where they had one of the lead characters was actually working an overnight shift, and his dad, who was actually his boss as one of the chief surgeons, at the end of the show. I was just like blown away by that, going, okay, this is an original ending. I'm not really happy with the ending per se, but it's an original thought.
It's not as unconsequential to They're All Dead. Like, They're All Dead means everything you just watched is completely irrelevant. At least it was going on in the kid's mind and, whatever, it's a mad, but They're All Dead. That's
now the best ending.
The worst ending I've ever seen, though, is to the movie for Stephen King's The Mist. Terrible. And it's not the way that he ended the book, so he was always upset about it. The family escapes they're stuck in like a convenience store for the whole movie because the mist is outside. They escape. I think they run out of gas, and then they finally, the mist is catching up to them, and they hear a bunch of thuds, so they think the monsters are coming. So the guy shoots his family, runs out of bullets, doesn't shoot himself to save them from having to be eaten by the monsters. And it turns out it's the army coming to rescue them, not the monsters. And he's left alone in his car.
Oops.
That's the end.
Oops. Yeah. That's
I was like, well,
there's no therapy enough for that guy. Sorry about your luck, bro. Yeah. For my money, the best ending I've ever seen on a television series was Newhart. Now, this was a big difference between the new Bob Newhart show and the old Bob Newhart show. Bob Newhart was a owner of one of those homes in Vermont that you can stay in. Good Lord, now the word escapes me. But he was the owner of a bed and breakfast up in Vermont. So you got this wonderful series, and Newhart in the last series, he's looking out his window. By the way, this bed and breakfast is on a golf course. Golf ball plugs him in the temple, and it kills him. Okay, now that would be the end of the series, except it wasn't. In a stroke of absolute freaking genius, the next scene is complete darkness, and all of a sudden, you see Suzanne Plachette, who played Bob Newhart's wife in the original Bob Newhart show back in the 70s, the set of their bedroom, and you hear Suzanne Plachette go, Jesus, Bob, how many times do I have to tell you you can't eat like this because you're going to have nightmares like that? And he was going on and on about, God, I was an owner of a bed and breakfast in Vermont. And Suzanne Plachette throws that line down. I laughed my ass off for 3 days. That was one of the greatest endings I have ever seen in a television series. It was phenomenal how they were able to do that.
I hate the TV shows that end on a cliffhanger when they don't know that they're not going to get a next season.
Yeah.
Then the series ends on a cliffhanger. And
yeah.
One of the first shows I was ever a fan of. It came on before I was born, but I grew up watching it. Was Alf.
Absolutely.
It ended with him getting captured by the alien task force.
Absolutely.
Because they thought they were going to have but then what happened was I think shows started to be owned by the networks instead of individually owned. NBC didn't pick up Alf. They obviously picked up Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That worked out for NBC, but no one else picked up Alf, so they weren't out for a fifth season.
It. They're done.
They're done.
And as of late, the show with Kiefer Sutherland, where he was the president, Last Man Standing.
Yeah, that got a reboot, on Netflix. So Netflix picked it up and made like another 2 seasons of it.
Okay.
So that it at least tied the story in it.
Yeah, but after 2 years on ABC, they were done, and you were like, okay, what just happened here, and how does this cliffhanger work itself out?
Yeah, and I liked the first 2 seasons, but then when Netflix caught it up, see, when you catch up a show, but you can tell that they have new writers because it's just different. The characters are a little bit different.
Yep.
They decided they weren't on network TV anymore, so they could swear a little bit more. So all of a sudden the characters were potty mouthed, which I don't mind swearing, but when you do it out of nowhere, when these characters are established and then all of a sudden they're swearing all the time, it doesn't really mesh.
No, it doesn't jive.
It's not cohesive.
Yeah.
So I wasn't a huge fan of the last 2 seasons, but at least they wrapped up the story.
Yeah. And then Gilligan's Island, for all I know, they're still on the island. Yeah, it is what it is.
Did you ever watch an episode and think they might get off the island this time?
No.
Nope.
No. Because it is a betting game. Okay, who's going to screw this one up? Gilligan is 9-2. Skipper's 8-1. Professor's 15-1 because he rarely screws anything up. The Mr. and Mrs. Howell are like 40-1. Normally it's Gilligan's the heavy favorite, maybe 1-9. But he's going to be the one that screws it up. So there you go. All right, we're going to take a final timeout and get ready for Power Hour. We'll wrap this bad boy up after this. Stick around, more to come.
Hey, my Ohio friends, it's Mike Ditka, and I know great talent and heart when I see it. I can tell you from firsthand experience, there are average real estate agents, then there are true champions. Kelly Warren is one of those champions, and you have her right there in your own backyard. Kelly outmarkets and outsells every agent in the Mahoning Valley. If Kelly can't sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, Kelly will buy it. Get your home sold. Call Kelly Warren today at 717-2689 or go online to kellysoda.com and start packing.
You can feel it. Baird Brothers' traditional craftsmanship. You can see it. Baird Brothers' timeless style. And you can afford it. And find everything at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is real hardwood, yet beautifully affordable. Floors, moldings, interior doors, bar rails, and stair parts. all within your means and without a care. Start at BairdBrothers.com. You have made it your home.
Teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Getting set to close up shop on this Monday edition of Running Points on ysnlive.com. Ron Potesta with you. Anthony Hartwig on the other side. We will be riding solo tomorrow as Anthony does some work at getting set and getting ready for the high school football season. I mean, now that we're into the sports aspect of it, Anthony can do what Anthony does best, which is the social media part.
What's exciting is now you can get to do what you get to do best too, because we're going to have what this show was supposed to be when it started, which is all about the high school sports.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully we have some guests from high school football coaches on, and we'll try to get as many as we can on tomorrow. I know with school now in session for a lot of the Mahoning Valley, and some of those coaches are teachers, it's kind of tough to get some people to come on board between noon and 3. But we'll try to do the best that we can as we are coming closer and closer to the start of the high school football season.
Yep, and tonight, Power Hour next, and then volleyball. I'll be at Springfield tonight as they host Girard in their season opener. That'll be first serve at 7 o'clock, so tune in to some primetime volleyball.
You're ready for your volleyball announcing. You've got all the stuff that needs to be done.
Got my jitters out on Saturday because it was the first thing I broadcasted since February. So
understand that
Saturday,
one.
Saturday we did South Range at Heartland at South Range. It was a good match. It went 4 sets. So tonight, Springfield's the defending district champion. They came off a 22-6 record, so we'll see what they can do against a pretty good Girard team.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow, noon to 3. Again, the show is now 5 days a week officially, as we are going to be starting the high school football season. And again, high school football on Thursday night. Canfield is playing Howland. Ursuline's taking on Cheney. Niles and Jefferson. Sebring and McDonald. Also, kudos to our new guys in Louisville. They will be playing Dover. Man, that's a tough week 1 matchup for Louisville. We will have that game on the YSN family as well. And plenty of things to talk about on Friday with the start of the season. We'll also recap those 5 games amongst the other games across the state of Ohio. Tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, we'll have as many high school football coaches on as we can. We'll also have Brian Tolnar on Wednesday. Going to see if we can get our girl Aditi from the NFL Network to chime in during the course of the week. We'll see if we can pull out Tom Callahan as we're now into the NHL semifinals, and we'll catch up with our hockey guy Tom Callahan. But lot of high school football coaches.
Let's have another Mandy Monday next week too.
Yeah, no doubt.
Especially if they win that series against Minnesota.
Yeah, we need to get Mandy on next Monday, a Mandy Monday. Not to be confused with Mandy from the WWE that's kicked our girl to the curb, and she's gone from the WWE. Look, she'll be back. You know, she's not going anywhere. She. Of course, being the, what the hell is her name? Sonya Deville. She's not going to be leaving the WWE. She's taking a break. She'll be back at some point in time. That WWE loves her, but there's some behind-the-scenes stuff that was going on. Really bad situation where she was almost kidnapped at knife point, and she wanted to take a couple of weeks off. So they upped the ante last night to the loser leaves town match. She lost, so she's going to probably take a month or 2 off, and then she'll be back. but we'll see Sonya Deville down the road. So
Sonya Deville.
yeah.
Sonya Deville. If she doesn't scare you, no evil thing will. Sorry.
Wow.
Sorry.
Okay, and on that note, we'll bid you adieu. Boy, that's a mic drop if I've ever heard one. Power Hour coming up next. Have a great day, everyone.